An island for all. I can add attributes to everything. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. Did you blow up the wood elf warehouse? 2/10. When Su Bei and Du Ling were discussing, the light spirit was also flying among the fruit trees with light, dark blood and green thunder, picking off the ripe fruit. According to the final statistics, there are 67 light-hanging fruits, 430 dark blood fruits, and 650 green thunder fruits, the most. After Su Bei's calculations, he still underestimated the effect of increasing the output of the magic field. The sum of the three kinds of supernatural fruits directly exceeds 1,000. Du Ling, Zhuan Menaiu and the Lin family sisters were also dumbfounded. This is too much. Su Bei originally wanted to take a photo and show it to Shen Qingling to make her envious. But after thinking about it, Shen Qingling's authority in the special affairs team is not low, and she is able to access the warehouse of the special affairs team. She thinks that she has seen many good things. This supernatural fruit should not make her lose her temper. And the truth of not revealing wealth. 630. Su Bei still understands. He converged his mind and called Ding Sina and the four of them. Su Bei pointed at Hang Yuango and said, "This is for you. Let's see if you can wake up." Although Ding Sina and the four have fixed entries, they are still ordinary people in essence, and they did not notice the previous aura fluctuations. Moreover, they are strictly disciplined and do not have the habit of watching lively events. Always on standby at the villa. After receiving the news from Su Bei, I came quickly. As a result, I saw the supernatural fruits piled up into hills. Then I heard Su Bei say to wake them up, and they wouldn't be able to fix it. The surprise came too suddenly, and they were a little overwhelmed. Du Ling smiled and said, "Sisters are welcome. As long as they eat with confidence, they are all their own." 35. Zhuan Menaiu had received professional training from the special affairs team and knew about Ding Sina and the others' habits. So she leaned into Su Bei's ear and said, "Islander, you have to give orders to them." Su Bei obeyed and said, "This is an order." "As ordered." Only then did the four of Ding Sina take action. Perhaps because of the entry, Ding Sina's awakening progress was obviously much slower than Du Ling and the others. The four people consumed a total of 34 light-hanging fruits, and finally completed their awakening. But now the Su Bei family has a big business, not to mention the 34 light-hanging fruits. Even if they are all consumed, he won't care. It's just that in his plan, there are at least 16 opponents for the gunners, and the remaining Hang Yuango awakens 4 or 5 people at most, which is not enough. After thinking about it, Su Bei decided to find Shen Qingling in exchange for some thick soil fruit. All the gunner troop awakened light-type abilities, which seemed a little thin. But it is better to add a few earth-type abilities to strengthen the defense. It can also adjust the position of the turret in time and modify the ballistics, which can be regarded as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Thinking of this, Su Bei decisively sent a message to Shen Qingling, "I want 100 thick soil fruit." 35. Shen Qingling, who was eating breakfast, almost choked to death, coughed for a long time before replying, "Did you hit an extra 0? No wonder." Shen Qingling said so. Before Su Bei asked her to buy power fruits, that is, 10 pieces of 10 pieces. As a result, this time it came up to 100. Very unreasonable. Su Bei glanced at the dozen or so boxes of dark blood fruit and green thunder fruit next to him, and quickly replied, "That's right, there are only 100 supernatural power fruits, and it's completely out of the question." Shen Qingling hesitated for a moment, then replied, 100 thick soil fruit can be taken out. But how are you going to settle the bill? Materials like supernatural fruit are not accepted for purchase in cash, and they are still 100 pieces. Su Bei, in exchange for something, I will exchange the fruit of supernatural power with you. 35. Shen Qingling, you have another output. What kind of supernatural fruit is this time? Su Bei directly passed on a green Lego. That's it. When he saw King Eligo, Shen Qingling didn't take it seriously at first. Qingaligo can only awaken the E-level ability, and if you want to exchange for the D-level thick soil fruit, you have to exchange at least 5 for 1. But when the fruit was in hand, Shen Qingling was surprised to find that the quality of this green thunder fruit was very unusual, and it was able to awaken D-level thunder-type abilities. However, thinking of the D-level dark fruit that appeared before, Shen Qingling calmed down again, no longer said any more, and turned to transfer the supplies from the Special Affairs Team warehouse. After a while, Shen Qingling placed 100 thick soil fruits on the trading column, and Su Bei also placed the remaining 99 green thunder fruits. After completing the transaction, Shen Qingling asked, "Are the extra green lei fruit ready to sell?" 35 Shen Qingling found it, but if Su Bei exchanged the fruit of supernatural power, it meant that he still had a batch of stock in his hand. And there are still a lot of them. So there is this question. Su Bei's answer did not disappoint her. Su Bei replied, "Wait for me to cultivate some power users first, and then see how many are left." 35 This is unusual. Shen Qingling hesitated for a moment, then couldn't help but ask, "Where did you bring the treasure house of the Aboriginal people? I heard that the warehouse of the Wood Elves was bombed before. Is it you?" Su Bei quickly replied, "Don't talk nonsense. I'm still 108,000 miles away from the Wood Elves. How can I meet them?" Shen Qingling, "That's right. She just mentioned it casually. The Wood Elves are powerful. Even if Su Bei is the leader among the new Island Masters, he is not their opponent. Not to mention the Wood Elves, their vassals alone can make Su Bei drink a pot." After chatting for a while, Su Bei turned off the chat bar, looked at Du Ling, and said, "I need you to go to the slum to choose someone. Let Zheng Wen and Zheng Wu cooperate with you, and pay attention to safety." Du Ling comes from a slum and knows the way of life there, as well as many unknown secrets. It would be more appropriate for her to choose personnel. Su Bei needs to increase the number of ability users next, and relying on the company's ability user candidates is simply not enough. Moreover, Blue Star's company has received a lot of attention on the bright side, and it is very inconvenient to act. It's better to go back to the starting point and go to the slum to find 2.5 people. The people there are generally ruthless. Du Ling said. The island owner can rest assured and promise to complete the task. 35 Su Bei nodded and looked at Zhuan Menyu. When the company prepares a place, the people that Du Ling chooses to gather there first. Don't let them communicate with the outside world. Wait for me to go, understand? Clear. Very good. Disband. Du Ling and Zhuan Menyu walked together and began to discuss the details. The Lin family sisters went straight to the alchemy room. They found a new formula and were revising it. The four of Ding Sina went to practice the shooting of the nether energy gun. Su Bei called the earth spirit to transport all the supernatural fruits back to the basement of the villa, stood on the edge of the magic field and thought for a moment, then walked to the artificial lake. Anyway, it is now idle. He is going to open the coordinate jade, but needs the assistance of the turtle team. Advertisement Chapter 152 Ghost-faced venomous spider, 3/10. There are 5 coordinate jades in Su Bei's hands, all of which are bronze grades. There are some differences in the specific grades, but the overall impact is not large. He is now very experienced in exploring the enchanted island. Like a bronze-level coordinate jade, you will inevitably encounter a silver-level enemy. The turtle squad is essential. In addition to this, there is the star iron tiger, which is also a warrior, with full defenses, and can kill 7 in and 7 out of the enemy. As for Yvette, Naya, and Doreen, although they have silver-level strength, they are not within the scope of Su Bei's calculation of combat power. The entry has not been fixed. It is not stable enough. Su Bei came to the lake. After the second expansion, the area has reached 1 square kilometer, which is very vast. Eleanor swam over and said happily, "Islander, why are you here?" Behind her, the 3 Yvette also swam over to say hello. After a few greetings, Su Bei explained his intention. "Eleanor, I am going to explore the enchanted island, and I need the assistance of your turtle team." Eleanor called out a few times, and a few black spots appeared on the lake in the distance. Immediately afterwards, several heavy water turtles approached, all of which were bronze level advanced, and were resident on the island by Eleanor. Islander, the turtle team and I are always ready at 17. Eleanor's fighting spirit is high. Yvette swam over, hesitated for a moment and then said, "Your Excellency Sube, can I replace Eleanor in the battle? Her level is not enough." 5 Sube replied, "Captain Yvette misunderstood, I didn't let Eleanor join the battle, I just need her to mobilize the turtle team." Sube patted the Longian saber hanging from his waist and said, "I am the owner of the island, so naturally I have to lead the way." While speaking, Star Iron Tiger received the call and came from a distance. Sube said, "Its task is to defend the rear, lest Eleanor and Dog be attacked." Yvette bowed and saluted, "I misunderstood, Your Excellency Sube, please forgive me." Sube waved his hand, "You care about Eleanor, how can I be angry about it? The main reason is that you haven't seen our fighting style, so you can't help but be concerned, which is normal. But today, Captain Yvette can be a witness to see how Eleanor's life is on the island." Yvette thought for a moment, then smiled, "Then I'll wait and see." Boom, boom. 2 dull gunshots came from a distance. It was Ding Sina and the others who were practicing shelling. Sube suddenly had a bold idea. Anyway, there are earth spirits, and it is not difficult to transfer the nether energy cannon. Why not take the nether energy cannon to explore the enchanted island, go to the passage, and kill the silver level enemy? Thinking of this, Sube decisively called Ding Sina and the others over. "Although you have only just arrived, the actual combat is about to begin." Ding Sina and the 4 immediately replied, "Promise to live up to the trust." Sube nodded, called Dog and others over again, and stood by the lake and began to assign tasks. The old rule is to advance 2 heavy water turtles. I'll enter after. There is no problem, you wait for my news, and prepare nether energy cannons in case of emergencies. "Yes." The crowd responded loudly. Immediately, Augur asked, "Islander, do you want to transfer the nether energy cannon to bombard the enemies on the enchanted island?" Sube nodded, "That's right. Now that we have professional gunners, what's the point of frying fish? Only actual combat is the best way to test the results." Aug rubbed his hands together and said excitedly, "The guys on the demonized island must have no idea what they will face." Sube also laughed slyly, then waved his hand, ready to fight. The battle order was issued, and everyone was busy. It is simple to open the coordinate jade, but you have to choose a good location. After all, there is a bronze level enchanted island on the opposite side. Maybe at the moment when the teleportation channel is opened, there will be enemies rushing over. So the location must be selected on the edge of the island. At the same time, nether energy cannons can also be placed in place in advance. However, the power of the nether energy cannon is too great, and it will definitely not bombard the transmission channel directly. If the passage is destroyed, the fun will be great. While thinking about it, the others finished their preparations. Sube came to the edge of the island, left 100 meters of open space, and crushed the coordinate jade. Energy emerges, forming the transmission channel. Just before the turtle team went to investigate, Sube noticed that there was a change in the teleportation channel, and immediately pulled out the dragon sword and shouted, "There are enemies, prepare to fight." The heavy water turtle stepped forward with the clear water shield and protected Eleanor and the others behind him. Star Iron Tiger swung his claws and roared in a low voice. Yvette, Naya, and Doreen had already put on their equipment and were armed with tridents. A ferocious black shadow rushed out from the transmission channel. It was a spider, its body was pitch black, its sharp arthropods were more than 2 meters long, and the fluff on its back gathered into a grimacing face that made the scalp numb. Sube swept his eyes and put the attributes in his eyes. Name, ghost-faced poisonous spider level, bronze top skills, 1, spinning silk 2, poison spray 3, sharp thorns. Description, a spider that grows in a place filled with poisonous gas, good at hunting. At the moment when the first ghost-faced poisonous spider appeared, more shadows appeared in the passage. Sube stretched out his hand and wiped the surface of the Longian saber, The Shengwang sharp blade had already completed the blessing, and then the Longyan saber vibrated, and the Gufengzan smashed it out. As soon as the three ghost-faced poisonous spiders landed, they were cut in half when they wanted to charge, and their bodies fell on the beach. Repression 35633 Su Bei let out a low drink, and the heavy water turtles, under the control of Eleanor, released heavy water shocks one after another, killing the ghost-faced poisonous spider protruding from the teleportation channel. Then came the second and third batches. Now there are a lot of heavy water turtles, which can achieve segmented attacks and effectively suppress the enemy. It's just that these ghost-faced poisonous spiders generally have the strength of the top bronze, and their movements are agile, and it is easy to slip through the net. It's just that they hadn't rushed out far before they were shot dead on the beach by Star Iron Tiger. The battle lasted for 2 minutes, and more than 30 ghost-faced poisonous spiders were killed. Perhaps the opposite spider sensed something was wrong and suspended the attack. Su Bei casually threw a dozen popping fruits into the teleportation passage, and then asked Eleanor to send the turtles to investigate the situation. At the same time, he also instructed that if he encounters an attack, he immediately retreats. Turtles travel through the teleportation tunnel. 2 minutes later, Eleanor reported the situation. The turtles survived and were not attacked. Su Bei nodded and ordered, "Go forward." More than a dozen heavy water turtles passed through the passage and began to form a defense line. Afterwards, Su Bei also stepped into it with Star Iron Tiger. When his vision was restored, Su Bei arrived at the enchanted island on the opposite side, and at the same time he heard a neigh in the distance. The spiders here are very unwelcome to them. Advertisement Chapter 153 The roar of artillery fire, 4/10. The ghost-faced spider Huan didn't welcome him, and Su Bei didn't care. After confirming that there are no spiders in sight, send Star Iron Tiger back to the island to shake people. It's time to let the ghost-faced spiders here know what the righteous fire is. The first to pass through the passage were more than a dozen heavy water turtles. They had rough skin and thick flesh, and came to form a temporary position. Afterwards, Eleanor, Augur and others appeared, and the Earth Spirit searched the soil to come over with 2 nether energy cannons. The 3 of Yvette were fully armed and guarded around Eleanor. A situation where the situation is not right to run away at any time. Su Bei didn't care either. If it were him, he would have made the same choice. Shout. In the distance came a new neigh, full of greed. Obviously, the ghost-faced poisonous spider here can't hold back after seeing so many people passing through the teleportation channel. Soon, the sound of the collision of the arthropods reached Su Bei's ears from far to near. On the hills in the distance, the black tide came rapidly. Those are ghost-faced poisonous spiders, and the number has already exceeded 100. And further away, more ghost-faced poisonous spiders climbed out from behind the hills and came towards the teleportation passage. The 30 or so poisonous spiders that were killed before were nothing but drizzle, not even a tentative attack. Boom. The dull sound of the cannon sounded, and the energy bullet accurately landed on the poisonous spider swarm. The black tide instantly appeared a large blank, and together with the soil under his feet, it melted away. This cannon has a remarkable effect. At least 60 or 70 ghost-faced poisonous spiders were killed, leaving only some demonic crystals scattered on the ground. However, the charging footsteps of the ghost-faced spider were not affected at all. Or they haven't had time to react. More ghost-faced poisonous spiders came in, filling the gaps in the spider group. Boom. The second nether energy cannon opened fire. This is a nether energy cannon with a diffusion entry, and the explosion range is larger. As soon as the shot went down, the ghost-faced poisonous spider's charging team was beaten into 2 pieces. Only the fastest rushing and the slowest runner survived, and the remaining hundreds of ghost-faced poisonous spiders died on the spot. Su Bei nodded in satisfaction. Sure enough, truth only exists within range. The effect of these 2 shellings was much stronger than that of him slashing with a knife. At least in terms of harvesting miscellaneous soldiers, the nether energy cannon is a well-deserved king. It's a pity that time is tight, and there are only 2. If all the 8 energy cannons are cast, the shelling alone will be enough to wipe out the entire army of ghost-faced poisonous spiders. But now, while the nether energy cannon is being recharged, They have to be active. Xingtiu let out a roar and rushed out with a stream of light, and every time he slapped, the head of the ghost-faced poisonous spider could be smashed into pieces. And the poisonous spray attack that the ghost-faced poisonous spider was proud of landed on Xingtiu, and it had no effect at all. In addition to helping Star Iron Tiger throw a light, it failed to cause substantial damage. As the ghost-faced spider approached, the heavy water turtle began to attack. More than a dozen heavy water impacts formed an unbreakable line of defense. Any ghost-faced poisonous spider that hit it was repelled, and the unlucky one was smashed to pieces, swaying his limbs frantically, and fell to the ground and gradually disappeared. Sube stood still holding the Longian sword, and had absolutely no chance to shoot. In the follow-up, as his subordinates continue to increase, the number of times that Sube is really required to fight will also decrease synchronously. But it's also mainstream. After the development of the island is on the right track, the focus of the island owner's work shifts to overall planning, rather than focusing on combat. Sube gathered his thoughts, looked across the hill, and saw the lush stone pillars in the distance. The ghost-faced poisonous spider crawling on the surface of the stone pillar can be seen over 1,000 meters. After thinking for a moment, Sube gave an order. The next shot hit those stone pillars. Ding Sina immediately took the order. Follow the order. 39 then began to adjust the muzzle direction. Although they only came yesterday, they have not practiced the nether energy guns many times. But after all, he is a professional gunner, and he is very quick to get started. After completing the charging, a cannon bombarded the stone pillar. The torrent of energy raged. 7 or 8 stone pillars collapsed and vanished. In an instant, an angry hissing sound resounded throughout the island. At the bottom of the smashed stone pillar, ghost-faced poisonous spiders crawled out continuously. Some of them are very large in size. That is the silver-level Spider King. Apparently, those stone pillars were the dens of the ghost-faced spiders. Now that the hometown was bombed, the ghost-faced poisonous spider couldn't help it and killed it under the leadership of the Spider King. Then he was bombarded by the second nether energy. When the energy subsided, only the Spider King, who was seriously injured and dying, was left, and the rest became scum. This Spider King was very clever. When the energy bombs attacked, he dug into the ground to avoid it, and then called his younger brother over to block the gun, so he barely survived. The other 2 Spider Kings, who were not smart enough, had already turned into charred corpses and fell to the ground without moving. Xingtiu roared and slapped the Spider King back to his hometown. The fight subsided. No new ghost-faced spiders appeared. But Sube knew that there must be remnants in the cave under the stone pillar. If nothing else, at least the Spider Queen is not dead. That is the core of the entire spider group. However, the location of the Spider Queen must be underground, where the nether energy cannon cannot directly bombard it. Sube decided to perform a beheading operation to kill the Spider Queen. On-site defense, Star Iron Tiger and I went to kill the Spider Queen. 35 Sube gave an order and immediately looked at Yvette. Captain Yvette, I'll leave it to you here. With a solemn face, Yvette solemnly replied, Don't worry, Your Excellency Sube, I will never let anything happen here. Sube nodded and took the Star Iron Tiger straight to the stone pillar ruins in the distance to find the passage to the lair. The size of the entire lair is not large, except for the sporadic ghost-faced poisonous spider. There is not much energy fluctuation. The stone pillars that were destroyed on the ground were the lair of ordinary ghost-faced poisonous spiders, while the underground was exclusive to the Spider Queen. Searching the lair for a moment, Sube saw the Spider Queen. This is a spider that is twice the size of an ordinary ghost-faced poisonous spider, with a particularly fat belly. After seeing Sube, he let out an angry neigh. He was then slashed to death. Although the Spider Queen has an advanced level of silver, Wang Hao, but the fighting ability is very weak. It can even be said that it is not at all. The meaning of its existence is to lay eggs and incubate offspring. Fighting is the Spider King's business. It's just that when the Spider King faced the nether energy cannon, he had no resistance and was sent to the sky by a cannon. Sube waved his hand and let the Star Iron Tiger search and hunt freely in the lair, then returned to the ground. The battle has subsided and the recovery can begin. A star iron tiger chases and kills the remaining ghost-faced poisonous spiders, and it takes only a few minutes to clear all hidden dangers. Returning to the teleportation channel, Subei began to arrange tasks. Now that the Earth Spirit and its younger brother are quite large, the transfer speed will be very fast. Then it was time for Jewel Cat and Dogger to perform. Unfortunately, they got nothing. This island has neither treasures nor ore. Fortunately, the east is not bright and the west is bright. Star Iron Tiger ran back. It found a clutch of spider eggs and didn't know what to do with it. Advertisement Chapter 154 Ugly is Ugly, 5/10. Hearing that there were spider eggs, Subei's first reaction was to destroy them on the spot. Ghost-faced poisonous spiders have demonic crystals, which means that they have been eroded by demons and cannot refresh fixed entries. This question, Subei also asked the system before. The reply was that the souls of these demonized creatures were incomplete and could not be resolved at this stage. However, if Subei's rank continues to rise, the system's abilities will also be strengthened. At that time, the demonized creatures can also be brought under his command. In the previous battle, Subei discovered that the ghost-faced spider was corroded by demonic energy. From this calculation, the eggs laid by the Spider Queen will certainly not be spared. Must be destroyed. However, the feedback from Star Tiger made Subei change his mind. The reason why Xingtiu ran back was because he found that the spider eggs were still in normal state and had not been corroded by demonic energy for the time being. It will hunt down demonized creatures, but those with normal spider eggs don't want to attack. The news brought Subei's spirits up. He is a pragmatist, and the ghost-faced spider is a little ugly, but his fighting power is not bad. If you can cultivate a Spider Queen to come out, you will get a constant supply of combat power. And there is a plant on the island that is a perfect match for the ghost-faced spider. That is the ghost hand banyan tree. Let the ghost-faced poisonous spider build a nest on it, which can completely turn that direction into a place of death. Any enemy who dares to invade from there will surely know what a surprise is. Thinking of this, 633 Subei resolutely followed Star Iron Tiger to the poisonous spider's nest again. The body of the Spider Queen who was killed before has been transported out by the Earth Spirit. After all, this is a silver-level monster. Even if it is hacked to death, its value is not low. The place where Xingtiu found the spider eggs was in the corner where the Spider Queen used to lie. After lifting the thick slate, nearly 100 spider eggs lay quietly in the pit. Subei glanced at him and nodded secretly. It is indeed possible to refresh the state of the entry. Refresh. There is no particularly good alternative entry, one white, one green and one green, and the highest is rare. Hidden, rare, hides its own aura, reduces the possibility of being discovered, and raises the item level to middle silver after fixing the entry. Even these ordinary ghost-faced poisonous spiders have the potential of intermediate silver. And can hide the breath. It is more convenient for them to lurk on the top of the tree, BHCF, of the ghost hand banyan tree and launch an attack on the enemy. It's a pity that there are no higher grade entries, but Subei doesn't pick it either. To put it bluntly, the ghost-faced poisonous spider is only a supplement to the combat power, and it is not crucial. Fixed. 35 Ding. The entry has been fixed. The target loyalty is constant at 100. 95 Called the Earth Spirit to transport these spider eggs back to the island. Subei returned to the ground. Overall, the value of this island cannot be considered high. Due to the ghost-faced poisonous spider, the land here is not only barren, but also has a certain degree of toxicity, and the number and types of plants are not many. And there are no veins and treasures. The only thing to celebrate might be the harvest of these spider eggs. Ugly is ugly, but it works anyway. After 4 hours of unremitting efforts by Tuling and the younger brothers, they not only looted all the plants on the island, but also brought back hundreds of tons of soil. Looking at the bare enchanted island, Subei smacked his lips and returned to the teleportation tunnel. The transmission channel disappeared, and the Earth Spirit continued to work, transferring the newly acquired plants to the open space, waiting for subsequent arrangements. However, Subei has already looked at it roughly, and there is not even a silver-level plant. The highest is bronze level. After refreshing the fixed entry, transfer part of it to the magic field, and plant the rest. The two nether energy cannons were transported back to the position and refixed. This battle has fully proved the power of the energy cannon. It is a pity that ores such as secluded stones are too rare to be mass-produced. It was also by chance that Subei obtained 4 secluded stones and 4 Yanyan stones. If he wants to install energy cannons on a large scale, I am afraid that he will have to wait for him to find the mine. Forget it, get 8 cannons first, and there will always be opportunities to increase them in the future. Subei put away his regrets and saw Duling walking quickly. When the teleportation channel was opened before, Duling and Zhuan Menyu returned to Blue Star to select staff. I just went to count the harvest of this exploration. It took a little longer. Duling Ui reported, Island owner, the harvest from this exploration is as follows. The first is the loot. There are 37 magic crystals and 93 spider eggs in total. 35 in terms of plants. Unfortunately, no gold and silver plants have been found. 99 The 32 bronze level plants are all wolf poison berries, which are not low in toxicity, and are one of the foods of the ghost-faced poisonous spider. 215 black iron plants, all of which are poisonous, have been concentratedly moved to the side of the ghost hand banyan tree, awaiting further treatment. 5 At the same time as the report, Duling handed the document to Subei. Then take out the new folder. Islander, the candidates you asked me to choose have been preliminarily determined. There are a total of 50 candidates, all of whom I have contacted in the slums before, and there is no problem with their character. The company's security department is conducting an in-depth investigation, and I think there will be results soon. 99 Subei took the information and turned a few pages. Although time is tight, the information is still complete. Obviously Duling worked hard. But this is also understandable. She has no doubts about Subei's loyalty, but it doesn't affect her helping her former friends. Subei would not object to this either. Being affectionate and righteous is not a disadvantage, but an advantage. However, not all of the candidates given by Duling will be selected. Subei's current plan does not require so many power users. But these people have nothing to lose. Even if they are not selected to land on the island, they will have the opportunity to work in the company. This was an opportunity that many civilians in Zyg could not ask for, let alone ordinary people in the slums. So when Duling found them before, these people did not hesitate at all, and immediately followed. Duling's deeds have already spread in the slums. She is now following the outstanding representative of Zyg, this year's strongest rookie island owner, and has received a reward to become a powerful ability user, making many people's eyes red with envy. As for those who were in the same area, but were not selected by Subei, they all beat their chests and felt regretful. They are so close to the opportunity to turn over, yet so far away. However, Subei didn't really care about Blue Star. His focus was still on the island. The company's affairs can be left to the Zheng brothers and Zhuan Menyu, and they will handle it well. Collecting his thoughts, Subei said, first, investigate the backgrounds of those people in depth, and I will go back to Blue Star to select candidates in 2 days. Ling ordered to retreat, and then, Eleanor came from a distance. Come up with great news. Islander, I have confirmed that Captain Yvette and the others have no soul connection with the Queen. Hearing this, Subei's eyes flashed. This is really good news. It's time to address the hidden dangers. Advertisement Chapter 155 Subduing Yvette, 6/10. The soul cannot be seen or touched, but it is real. Especially in the island world, even more so. The aboriginal people here have all kinds of magical abilities and can do things that humans can't imagine. This is also the reason why Subei did not directly fix entries for Yvette and the others. When it comes to the soul, one cannot be too cautious. But now there is good news from Eleanor. Yvette and the others do not have a soul link with the Mermaid Queen, so there is nothing to worry about. As for the fact that they were originally members of the patrol team, would it have any effect if they were transferred to Subei? Yes, but not much. But he has the Slaughter Samurai heritage. According to the information investigated by Subei, This profession is particularly popular in the island world. All ethnic groups have to give some face. After that, he will work harder, upgrade his rank to silver rank, and activate the second entry fixed ability, and Subei's combat power will leap again. It has the capital to attract the Aborigines to return. What can the Mermaid Queen say? It really irritated Subei and directly subdued the Queen, which was equivalent to bringing the entire mermaid family under her command. But think about it for now. With the strength of the Queen and the background of the mermaid family, it is unrealistic to say that there are no defensive items. While thinking, Subei and Eleanor came to the lake. Nai was playing with the turtle team, and after seeing Subei, she stepped forward and said, "Your Excellency, do you need me to inform Captain Yvette?" Subei waved his hand and smiled, "No hurry." Secretly, Subei refreshes the entry. 2 blue and 1 purple are quite acceptable. Swirl Shield, Epic, get Swirl Shield skills, provide high defense. The skill is similar to Shui Ling's Clear Water Shield, but the effect is much stronger. Nothing to say, just fixed directly. Fixed. Ding. Fixed. Target loyalty is constant at 100. Nai's eyes changed with enthusiasm. Subei waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to salute, and then asked her to call Doreen. Subei always felt that his behavior was similar to that of a strange mistress. Soon, Nai and Doreen appeared not far away. Subei greeted him with a smile, and then refreshed his fixed. Doreen's entry is also good and epic. Summoning water elements, epic level, get the skill of summoning water elements, lasts 10 minutes, the level is the same as your own. Can maintain up to 3 water elements. This entry is very interesting, it can shake people. Doreen is now a silver sub-level, and the water element she can summon is also a silver sub-level, and there are at most 3. It's a pretty good addition to combat power. Fixed. Ding. Fixed. Target loyalty is constant at 100! Without a doubt, Doreen also became Subei's loyal subordinate. Nai, Doreen, where are you? Yvette's call sounded in the distance and approached quickly. Immediately after seeing Subei, Eleanor and others who were joking next to him, there was a strange feeling in his heart, but he didn't care. Your Excellency Subei, have the follow-up matters of exploring the island been settled? Yvette swam over to say hello. Subei nodded, it's done, the previous battle, thanks to Captain Yvette for his help. Yvette shook her head quickly and said, I was watching from the side, and I didn't do anything at all. Your words are serious. While chatting, Subei refreshed the entry. Perhaps because of being in the same team, Yvette's entry is epic at the highest level. In terms of entry grade, the 3 mermaids are surprisingly consistent. But the properties are completely different. Blessing of Water, epic level, greatly improving the effect of water skills and reducing skill consumption. Yvette, Naya, Doreen, and Eleanor, all 4 of them are mermaids, and they all know how to resist water. The entry for the protection of water can significantly improve Yvette's combat power. She herself has the strength of high-level silver, and after adding this entry, she can even temporarily compete with gold-level powerhouses. It will become a new cutting-edge combat force on the island. Except for Subei, she is the strongest. Fixed. Ding. The entry has been fixed. The target loyalty is constant at 100! Yvette's body was shaken, she felt a new power emerge in her body, and her expression was a little surprised. Eleanor chuckled beside him, Captain Yvette, this is what I told you, the special ability of the island owner. Yvette bowed to Subei Yining, thanks to the island owner for this gift. This kind of method, Yvette has never heard of it. It's something even the Queen can't do. Coupled with the system's fixed loyalty, Yvette has completely surrendered. So did Nai and Doreen. Subei smiled contentedly. The addition of these 3 mermaids will make a qualitative leap in the strength of the island. Seeking flowers. The most important is the meaning behind this. It means that Subei can slowly dig the corner of the Mermaid Queen and continuously increase the number of mermaids under his command. But this is not the right way. The safest way is to improve your own strength. The Aborigines of the island world have a plot to worship the strong. Even strong clans such as mermaids and wood elves will choose to surrender when facing the top strong. As long as the other party is not the dark race. Even taking a step back, even if it is the dark race, It is not impossible. Tsubei is now playing small tricks and recruiting for mermaids. If you really want to expand on a large scale, you still have to show your strength. Thinking of this, Tsubei's desire for power increased again. Just in time to explore the island this time, I obtained a new magic energy crystal, and decisively asked the Earth Spirit to take it and absorb it by the lake. The energy of the magic crystals continued to flow into Tsubei's body, finally completing the breakthrough. Ding! The level of the host increases, and the fixed number of daily entries increases by 1. Tsubei is now a bronze senior, not far from silver. Congratulations to the island owner. The 4 of Eleanor opened their mouths to congratulate. Tsubei stretched his fists and adjusted to his new strength. Just as he was about to take Eleanor and the others to open another coordinate jade to practice, Tsubei noticed a strange aura on the sea in the distance. Yvette has the highest level, and also looks into the distance. Her eyes are like electricity. After sensing for a moment, Yvette's expression became solemn and said, "Island owner, is the dark race 39 dark people?" Tsubei looked up at the sky. There is no sign of a storm coming. In this clear sky, how could the dark race come over? But thinking of the abyss rat man he met not long ago, Tsubei was relieved. The dark race is not only able to act in the stormy area, but when it operates on a large scale, it needs to use the storm to cover up. In order to avoid the suppression of the island world. Concentrating his mind, Tsubei sounded the alarm. When the dark race appeared here, it would definitely not be for sightseeing. Not much to say. Get ready to fight. The island members acted immediately and gathered around Tsubei. Everyone came to a high place and observed the sea in the distance. Through the outline, Tsubei came to a conclusion. It was a fleet. Advertisement. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Driving the Island Pursuit Fleet 7/10. A fleet of dark race appeared on the sea, and the scale was not too small, with 7 ships. This thing is unusual. When the distant fleet got closer, Tsubei saw the flag hoisted by the other side. After comparison, it is blood race. Tsubei came to a conclusion after combining all the intelligence. The fleet was here to find him. If nothing else, he came to avenge the former Baron Atwood. Tsubei smiled. These dark races are quite vengeful. It's the Blood Clan. They actually appeared so openly. 35 Yvette was a little puzzled, looking at the direction they came from. They should pass by the mermaid territory. Didn't the patrol find them? 5 Tsubei thought about it and said, the patrol is not omnipotent. The mermaid's territory is very broad, and it is inevitable that there will be omissions. Although this sounded correct, 637 Yvette always felt a little uneasy in her heart. Could it be that there is something wrong with the mermaid family? It's just the current situation that she can't rush back. Tsubei reached out and patted Yvette on the shoulder, and said, I believe in your clan, and we are constantly advancing towards the mermaid territory. It won't be long before we arrive, and we will know when the time comes. Yvette is the captain of the mermaid patrol, and her mentality is adjusted very quickly. No matter what problems there are in the mermaid territory, after all, it is beyond the reach of the whip, and the top priority now is to kill the vampire fleet, so as not to cause harm to the island. Yvette's expression returned to firmness, and she said with a serious face, Islander, I have lost my way, please forgive me. Please allow me to fight, and the vampire fleet will be annihilated in the future. Tsubei nodded and gave the order, aim at the nether energy gun and fire freely. Ding! Sina and the 4 immediately responded loudly, as ordered. After the preparations were completed, the nether energy cannon roared, and 2 energy bombs swept across the sea in an instant and exploded in the fleet in the distance. In the water column rising into the sky, a large hole was broken on the side of one of them, and the seawater poured in and began to tilt. 2 minutes later, the second round of artillery bombardment began. The already incapacitated ship received new injuries and broke into 2 pieces and sank into the sea. Tsubei was very satisfied. but at the same time a little regretful. If all 8 energy cannons are cast, the first round of shelling can kill 2 of them. But then again, this Blood Clan fleet is not a very good thing. The ship defense is so fragile. Is it a serious battleship? It doesn't feel like it. Yvette guessed at the side. I suspect that this fleet is not the Blood Clan, but their subordinate, just in the name of the Blood Clan. 99 Immediately, Yvette suddenly said, I know why they were not discovered by the Mermaid Patrol. This is a merchant ship, the combat power is very weak, and the patrol team is too lazy to pay attention. This explanation is reasonable. Because according to Subei's understanding, the defenses of the battleships in the island world are very strong. The naval battles in the island world are still in the era of giant ships and cannons. They will install energy cannons on the warships for bombardment, so self-protection is very important. But the 2 rounds of shelling just now made Subei see something unusual. The defense of those ships is too low. Yvette's guess had a 90% chance of being right. If so, then there is no need to be too nervous. There is no official battleship, and this fleet is here to deliver food. After hesitating for a moment, Subei issued a new order. Sustaining the bombardment, the Turtle Squad approached from underwater, keeping the enemy 5 nautical miles away. 39 Follow your orders. The crowd immediately got busy. Hog stepped forward and said, Islander, we can't help in the battle here, please allow us to go back and forge energy cannons. Subei nodded, no problem. 99 With the arrival of Ding Sima and others, data recording and ballistic adjustment can be handled by them. Og and the others no longer need to be watching all the time. It is better to go back to the forging workshop and seize the time to cast new energy cannons. There is no pressure in this battle. According to calculations, the other party's half-ass fleet would have to sail for at least half an hour to get close to the island. Such a long time is enough to bury them halfway. In addition, there have been several rounds of bombardment, and the opposing fleet did not even show up for half of the Blood Clan. Instead, they put down some small boats and were approached by the sailors of the Dark Clan. It seems to be trying to land on the beach. The idea is good, but unfortunately met the turtle team. Boom. A dozen heavy water impacts surrounded the boat. By the time the waves subsided, the boat had turned into scattered pieces of wood. As for the sailors of the dark race above, they couldn't even see their shadows and sank into the deep sea to feed the fish. Heavy water impacted one after another, and the boat that landed on the beach was annihilated after traveling 100 meters. This time, no sailor on the ship dared to let the boat go into the sea. Just kidding. Go down and die. Only in this way, they will welcome the baptism of the nether energy cannon. A 2-minute salvo caused a devastating blow to the fleet. Before Augur and the others ran back to the forge, the second ship sank. After realizing that the situation was not right, the half-assed fleet in the distance turned around and wanted to evacuate. But how could Subei let them get their wish? Come and want to go? It's not that easy. Subei went to the basement decisively, accelerated the speed of the island, and went straight to the Dark Race fleet. The Dark Race fleet in the distance was dumbfounded. Make no mistake, the island is going faster than their boat. It's also a hammer. Boom. 2 more energy bombs arrived, and the third merchant ship disintegrated on the spot and sank into the sea. The crew members above have already perished under the raging of nether energy, so there is no need to worry about being drowned. On the vast expanse of the sea, an island chasing several ships is advancing rapidly. If the outside world saw this scene, they would definitely drop their jaws in shock. Play too much. The pursuit lasted for a quarter of an hour, and Subei, who was controlling the island to ride the wind and waves in the basement, received Du Ling's report. The 7th merchant ship has been sunk, and the enemy ship 2.5 has been annihilated. Subei slowed down, adjusted his direction, and then returned to the ground. Ding Sina walked over quickly and excitedly reported, Islander, the enemy fleet has been annihilated. 5 Subei laughed, good job, keep it like this. Don't worry, the island owner, he will definitely live up to his trust. Eleanor came from a distance and said, Islander, the turtle team has seized some materials from the sunken ship and dragged them to the beach. Please go and check. 39 There are also windfalls, which Sube did not expect. Immediately let Eleanor take him there. He didn't expect to make a fortune. If you can get some information, it will be quite valuable. For example, how did this blood race affiliated fleet discover him? Where did it come from? Where did it go? These are all things that need to be understood. Advertisement Chapter 157 The Poison Against the Mermaid, 8/10. Coming to the shore, the scattered materials have been placed separately, and the light is drying. Sube glanced at him. Most supplies are food supplies. This is also in line with the identity of the caravan. Yvette, who was inspecting the supplies, walked over and said, "Islander, according to my calculations, this fleet is the caravan of the wild boars. The food storage on the ship is their most common food, and the dead bodies of those sailors we have examined are mostly wild boars." Sube stood still and started retrieving relevant information. The wild boars are one of the aborigines in the island world, and their overall strength is not strong. There are many internal ethnic groups, and they are basically divided into different groups. It is not surprising that some of them took refuge in the Blood Clan. Yvette went on to say, "These boars should be on a trade voyage, so they were not intercepted and sunk by the mermaid patrol. 99 The wild boars are not the dark race as a whole, and they are not on the hostile list of our race." Sube nodded. At present, the mermaid family has nothing to do with this matter, which is a good thing. 7 Merchant ships can carry a lot of materials. However, the destructive power of the nether energy cannon is stronger. 17, and many materials are not washed away by the waves, but directly into nothingness. It is rare that the turtle team can bring back so many supplies. What? Yvette seemed to see something and stepped forward quickly. There is a wooden box that has just been dismantled, and there are some lumps of mud in it. Yvette observed for a moment, and said with certainty, "This is the goods that are going to be sold to the Earth Spirit race." Earthlings. Sube was impressed. They are a bit like cavemen, living underground, and their favorite food is dirt. Of course, it is not enough to dig a little by the roadside. The Earth Spirit clan still has requirements. Generally speaking, where the concentration of ore is high, those soils can be sold at high prices to the Earth Spirits. Sube said, "Is this soil dug from the super island where the wood elves are located?" Yvette thought for a moment and said, "It's very possible. As far as I know, the largest gathering place of the Earth Spirit race in the surrounding waters is in the area downstream of the ocean current. Most of these wild boars go to the wood elves to steal soil, and then want to follow the ocean currents to sell it to the Earth Spirits. 35 As a result, I received an order from the Blood Clan on the way, so I turned around and attacked. Judging from the current information, this possibility is the greatest. So it seems that this incident is mostly coincidental? Sube thinks there is a problem, but without more information, can't make a conclusion easily. Mainly because the fleet came too suddenly. No sign at all. While thinking, Tu Ling ran over from a distance, kicked the mud in the box into the sea, and then made a gesture. Sube's expression suddenly became solemn. The Earth Spirit said that it could sense the toxins in those soils. Very stealthy and ineffective against ordinary aboriginal people. But for these earth-based creatures, it is very deadly. Sube explained the situation. Yvette said immediately, "The wild boars want to provoke a battle between the wood elves and the Earth Spirits. Sube is also the guest. According to their calculations, these soils will flow into the hands of the Earth Spirit race. If it is highly poisonous, the Earth Spirit race will inevitably suffer heavy casualties. Coupled with the boars beside him, the Earth Spirit tribe would definitely transfer their grievances to the Wood Elves. But here comes the problem. The Earth Spirit race is not strong, and it can even be said that it is not worthy to carry shoes for the Wood Elves. And the distance between the two sides is too far. They can't fight at all. What the hell are the boars trying to do so much? What are you doing when you are full? Even if these wild boars are vassals of the Blood Clan, they will not be idle to this extent. Suddenly, Sube came up with a very incongruous idea. The real target of these wild boars may not be the Wood Elves, but the mermaids. This guess is unreasonable, but Sube thinks it is very likely. After thinking about it, Sube said, "Is it possible that this fleet did not come from upstream, but upstream, starting from the territory of the Earth Spirit clan and going to the territory of the Mermaid clan. This statement made Yvette stunned for a moment. Immediately reacted, and said in surprise, "What does the island owner mean? The original target of these wild boars is my clan." Yvette paced around the beach, thinking quickly. After a moment he said, "There is a possibility. 35 The soil was not used to poison the earth spirits, but the wild boars let the earth spirits poison them. 35 Earth spirit trace has such means. These soils sink to the bottom of the sea. Although they will not have a direct impact on our family, they will kill algae and corals. The amount of soil is not much, which shows that these wild boars are not trying to destroy our clan in one go, but a long-term plan." Yvette's eyes became sharp. Tsubei guessed that even if those wild boars didn't die in the bombardment just now, they would definitely be killed by this angry mermaid now. Eleanor, who has been silent by the side, said, "Captain Yvette, in fact, our clan's harvest has been decreasing in recent years, but it's not a big deal. The discussion between you and the island owner just now made me discover the problem here." Eleanor's testimony surprised both Tsubei and Yvette. Especially Tsubei. He just said it casually, but he was really hit by it. "What is this, crow's mouth?" Yvette, however, looked at Tsubei and said with admiration, as expected of the island owner, "He is very discerning." Tsubei coughed twice, "Don't worship me too much. It's just normal play." Tsubei was not surprised to learn of the boar's plan by accident. The battle between the Aborigines and the Dark Race has been going on for many years, and both sides are trying to kill the other side. Adding poison to the soil is nothing at all. The strength of the wild boars is low, and the Dark Race can't let them perform the difficult 637-degree mission, so they simply use the excuse of trade to keep throwing poisonous mud into the mermaid territory. It's just that because of the sudden death of Baron Atwood, the vampires wanted to take revenge on Tsubei, so they let these wild boars come to do things. Then he was sent back to his hometown by the Nether Energy Cannon. That being said, Tsubei was actually shot while lying down. But this incident also reminded Tsubei. The Dark Race cannot be underestimated. Of course, they have to wait for stormy weather to attack. But there are also a lot of small actions, and they need to be more careful. Concentrating his mind, Tsubei saw the worried expressions on the faces of Yvette and the four of them, and said with relief, "Don't worry, our original plan remains unchanged. We still go to the mermaid's territory, and then you can remind your compatriots." Evie nodded and said, "The island owner is right, it's no use worrying us. Trust our compatriots, they will be fine." 99 That's right. Eleanor took over the conversation, as if to increase her confidence. "Since the boars choose this way, it means that the Dark Race does not dare to go to war with our race." Nye and Doreen agreed. Tsubei said, "Instead of sighing and sighing here, it is better to improve my strength. I am going to open another piece of Magic Island coordinate jade. This time only the 5 of us will go. How about it?" 39 The best way to improve your strength is to fight. The Magic Island is the best place. Yvette and the others expressed their approval and returned to the artificial lake to get the equipment. Advertisement Chapter 158 The Temple, 9/10. When the 3 of Yvette came, they brought their own equipment. And although Eleanor has no equipment, she has a turtle team. This is much better than equipment. Tsubei and the 4 mermaids stood by the beach, and then crushed the coordinate jade. The transmission channel appears. But this time, no enemy jumped out. After waiting for a while, Doreen controlled the water element and stepped into the transmission channel. Now with the ability to summon water elements, there is no need for heavy water turtles to explore the way. Eleanor was very relieved that Turtle's life was guaranteed. Moments later, Doreen signaled, "The water element is alive." 99 These water elements are condensed by magic, and once attacked, Doreen will feel it immediately. Get feedback even faster than Eleanor's turtle squad. And even if the water element is exploded, it can be summoned again after waiting for a while, which is the best choice for stepping on thunder. Tsubei looked at Naya. "Give me the swirl shield, I'm going over." Naya raised her slender hand, and the shield composed of swirling water swirled around Su-bei. Su-bei strode forward. Afterwards, Yvette and the others also followed through. Star Iron Tiger was lying on his stomach at the entrance of the passage. It wanted to go and play, but Su-bei wouldn't let it. That is to say, it has not been long since Star Tiger opened his intelligence, otherwise Su-bei would have to know what the will of a big cat cannot be violated. At the heights, Ding Sina and several others aimed the muzzle at the transmission channel. Once there is a follow-up problem, when Su-bei and the others return, Ding Sina and the others will bombard them as soon as possible, trying to destroy the teleportation channel. Even if the passage can't be blasted, the monsters that are chasing can be blasted. Su-bei and Yvette met at the other end of the passage and began to observe the situation of this enchanted island. The terrain of the entire island is different from the enchanted island explored before. Very flat. In general, the islands are high in the middle and low in the four sides. This one is no different from the plain. The reason for this is because there is a temple on the island. Although it has collapsed, this architectural style can be seen as a temple at a glance. Yvette observed for a moment, and said, "It is the temple of the goddess of luck, with emblems engraved on the walls. Lady Luck." Su-bei immediately thought of the book of luck he was using. After the blessing of the entry, it was vaguely related to the goddess of luck. Now that they meet again on this enchanted island, Su-bei believes that this is definitely not an accident. There is a force in the dark that guides him to come here. However, Su-bei also raised his doubts. I remember that the goddess of luck was not asleep. How could her temple become so deserted? There are gods in the island world, this is certain. But according to the records of the Aboriginal people, wars of gods happened countless years ago. The reason for the war of gods has not been recorded. The only thing that is certain is that the battle of gods is very tragic. The gods either perished or disappeared. There are only a handful of gods who are still alive, and they have not responded to the call for many years. Lady Luck also survived. It's worthy of her name. The goddess of luck did not fall, and although there was no response, there were many believers. After all, if many Aborigines do not have a specific belief in gods, they will choose to believe in the goddess of luck, hoping to have good luck. With so many believers, it is unimaginable that the goddess of luck's temple can be abandoned like this. The most important thing is that this is the magic island. It is a place corrupted by demonic energy. The temple of the goddess of luck is sheltered. How could she sit and watch the demonic energy erode over, causing the temple to be abandoned? Not only Su-bei was a little surprised, but Yvette and the others were also puzzled. If those shrines of fallen gods are ignored, the believers are almost gone, so how can they care about the shrines? But the temple of the goddess of luck has also become like this, which is very strange. Yvette immediately clenched the trident and said with a serious tone, "Island owner, be careful, this island is weird. 99 and Doreen are guarding around. Be careful." Su-bei pondered for a moment and said, "You guys are defending here, I'll go to the temple to see." Yvette immediately objected, "The island owner must not be at risk. You must not take risks." 35 Su-bei said in his heart that I have taken risks more often, and I don't care more than this time. But Yvette is also thinking of him, and can't ignore her kindness. After thinking about it, Su-bei said, "Actually, I have the blessing of the goddess of luck. The reason why we are here may be the influence of the goddess of luck. Don't worry about my safety." "Eh?" Yvette stared blankly at Su-bei. With her beautiful face, she looks very cute. This news was completely unexpected to Yvette. She recalled what she saw on the island, but she didn't see any trace of the goddess of luck at all. When she heard the news suddenly, she couldn't digest it. Eleanor and several others were also stunned. Especially Eleanor, she has been on the island for a few days, and she has not found it at all. When the few mermaids were shocked, Su-bei continued, "So I went to explore the ruins of the temple. There must be no problem. The goddess of luck can't attack me." Yvette thought for a while, and it seemed to be the truth. Although I am a little worried, I can only agree. You guys be careful here. I'll be back when I go. 35 After speaking, Su-bei stepped forward quickly and reached the edge of the temple in the blink of an eye. First, he stood and observed for a moment, and then the figure disappeared into the ruins. The four vet in the distance suddenly became nervous. They wanted to go with him. But there must be people watching. A vet said, I think it is necessary to tame some sea creatures as a supplement to combat power like Eleanor. Otherwise the island owner will always explore by himself, which is too dangerous. Naya nodded and agreed, that's the truth, but unfortunately our ability is not aimed at taming ability. We can't do it to the level of Eleanor. Doreen summoned a new water element, controlled to go far away, expanded the warning circle, and then said, so, we must hurry up and train Eleanor, so that she can be promoted to the silver level as soon as possible. The three mermaids nodded in unison, then looked at Eleanor. Elaine shivered and did not dare to speak. Facing the three silver-level clansmen, her opinion will definitely be rejected mercilessly. Eleanor secretly wiped her tears. Knowing this earlier, he would not have responded to Yvette and the others' calls. Well now, bury yourself in the pit. The four mermaids are discussing here, but Sube is always in mind. And at this time, Sube was spreading around the temple. When I was outside, I felt that the temple was very dilapidated, but after walking in, I found that it was actually well preserved. In the ruins, the glory of the past can be vaguely seen. Wang Heazao, Sube now has the advanced strength of bronze. In addition, he has obtained the inheritance of the slaughtering samurai, and his perception of demonic energy is very keen. He found that the entire island was shrouded in demonic energy. Only the ruins of this temple were completely unaffected. However, the materials used to build the temple are just ordinary stones, not high-quality anti-magic stones. How to resist the demonic energy from eroding the interior of the temple? Soon, Sube knew the answer. In the chapel-like hall, there is a stone platform. On the stone platform, there is a flower. The key is that this flower seems to be just picked, full of vitality. But the dust around it shows that no one has visited here for a long time. Sube knew it. This flower is the key to sheltering the entire temple. It protects the temple from the erosion of demonic energy. It's just that the outside island, beyond its sheltered range, was eroded by demonic energy. Sube stepped forward and took a panoramic view of the flower's attribute panel. He also knew the name of the flower. Lucky flower. Advertisement. Chapter 159, The Magical Response of Lucky Flower and Island Heart, 10/10. Lucky Flower. The name is simple, even slightly tacky. But the quality is abysmal. Flower of Luck, the best of stars, a flower favored by the goddess of luck, extremely rare. The birth method is unknown. Star class. Sube was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped to the ground. He never thought that the first original star-level item he encountered turned out to be a flower. The item level of the island world has clear boundaries. From low to high, black iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamonds, and then xinyao. Now, the flower in front of Sube's eyes is not only a star, but also the highest star in it. How to make him not surprised? After being surprised, Sube began to think about how to use this thing to maximize its value. It is definitely not possible to eat it directly like this. Not to mention the value of Xinyao's best products, just the fact that this thing is related to Goddess of Luck shows that it is not something that can be handled casually. Meanwhile, Sube is also considering another issue. Why did you find this thing on a bronze-level enchanted island? To say that it is gold or even platinum, it is also recognized. Sube considers himself lucky and finds an item of that quality acceptable. But now that I jumped directly to the best of the stars, Sube couldn't accept it. It doesn't matter, the soldiers will block the water and cover the soil. Since they are here, it is impossible to return empty-handed. Sube's heart fluttered, and he directly picked up the flower of luck. I don't know if it was an illusion, but Sube 637 heard a subtle female voice drifting in his ears. Listen carefully, but not really. This is a timid person, and it has to be considered haunted. After making up his mind, Sube walked out of the temple quickly. Just as he was about to greet Yvette and the others, he noticed something strange behind him. Looking back, the huge temple was quietly turning to ashes. Sube muttered to himself, it seems that this flower of luck stopped the time in the temple, and now it was taken by me. Time flows again, and dust returns to dust. Yvette and others in the distance also discovered the abnormality here, and they didn't care about the transmission channel, and ran quickly. "Islander, are you alright?" Sube waved his hand. "I'm fine, but this is not a place to stay for a long time, let's go back first." After the temple disappeared, the island became worthless. Bare, with no grass at all. There wasn't even dirt, it was just rocks. Let the earth spirit come over, it is estimated that the tears will be wiped, it is too barren. Just as Sube, Yvette and the others returned to the island through the teleportation passage, the teleportation passage behind them disappeared with a bang, as if it had never existed. If it weren't for the lucky flower in his pocket, Sube would have thought it was a dream. The four Yvette also looked at each other. The disappearance of this transmission channel is too abrupt. Sube didn't say anything about the flower of luck, but smacked his lips regretfully. "I originally said that I would find a magic island to fight, but there was nothing." Yvette said with relief, "The island owner doesn't need to mind, the concentration of aura on the island is very high, and we can quickly level up here." Nia suggested, "Islander, let's open another coordinate jade." Doreen nodded in agreement. "That's right, another one, I must let Eleanor exercise more." Sube looked at the four mermaids, and found that Yvette all had high fighting spirits, while Eleanor seemed to have nothing to say. I immediately understood why. Almost laughed. Eleanor, I didn't expect that your clansmen came, but the good days were lost. It is nothing to open another coordinate jade. It's just that Sube wanted to go back to study the flower of luck, so he instructed, "There are many coordinate jades, so don't be in a hurry at this time." 35 It's the previous Boar fleet that made me realize that the island's defense system is not perfect, and the scope of the warning circle needs to continue to be expanded. Speaking of this matter, Yvette and the three immediately put the coordinate jade thing behind them. Eleanor cast a grateful look. Sure enough, the island owner is the best for her. Yvette pondered for a moment and said, "The island owner's words reminded me that this is not a mermaid territory, and the partners we tamed before are not there, and we need to choose again." This was discussed before, and Nia and Doreen had no opinion. "Islander, see you later." The mermaid squad retires. Sube waved his hand and immediately returned to the villa study. Putting the flower of luck on the table to observe carefully, Sube called out in his heart, "System, why can't this thing refresh the entry? I didn't notice any traces of demonic erosion." Back to the host. The target, BHCF, is related to the gods. In order to avoid risks, please try again after improving your strength. This answer is quite reasonable. But the crux of the matter is. From the system's answer, Sube heard something else. Can the goddess of luck perceive the state of the flower of luck? Holy crap, didn't he pick up a hot potato in his hand? Fortunately, the system gave a reassurance in time. Please rest assured, the host, unless the target is damaged, there is no need to worry. 35 Sube's heart was put back again. But in this way, this lucky flower can't be used directly, just put it away first. Thinking of this, Sube went straight to the basement with the flower of luck. This is the safest place on the whole island. Then Sube was surprised to find that the heart of the island vibrated, and at the same time sent out energy fluctuations, which resonated with the lucky flower in his hand. The flower of luck did not respond at first, but under the call of the heart of the island, it bloomed even further. This scene is absolutely unheard of. Sube subconsciously wanted to put away the lucky flower in his hand, but found that an unknown force fixed the flower in mid-air. Even with his strength, he couldn't drag it. For a moment, Sube thought that Lady Luck was coming in person, and slapped him to death. But thinking about it carefully, he didn't do anything to be sorry to Goddess of Luck, and he calmed down immediately. Most importantly, Sube's intuition told him what's happening right now isn't a bad thing. The flower of luck suspended in midair began to disintegrate under Sube's gaze, turning into a throbbing stream of light. Sube calls out to the system in his heart. System, did you just say that as long as this flower is not damaged, Lady Luck will not perceive it? So how should we deal with this situation now? Beep beep beep. The system made a frantic sound, but there was no response. Obviously this situation is not expected by the system. Tsubei is also not difficult for the system. Just be on full alert. Even with his current strength, he has no chance of winning against Goddess of Luck, but he will not give up the fight. However, the expected wrath of the gods did not appear. On the contrary, after a moment of suspension, the stream of light merged with the heart of the island. Shit. Tsubei was so shocked that he uttered foul language. To be honest, even if the Goddess of Luck jumped out and gave him a slap, it would be better than this lucky flower fused into the heart of the island. Ghosts know what to expect. If something goes wrong with heart of the island. Tsubei couldn't imagine it. He is worried a little now. If the bond between him and the heart of the island is cut off because of this, then it will really be a fool. Seeing the dazzling light from the heart of the island, Tsubei only had one thought in his heart. Regret. In short, very sorry. If he was given another chance, he would never take the lucky flower into the basement. This is the flower of luck, it's a Tankin. Just when Tsubei was thinking about how to remedy it, a crisp voice came from in front of him. Master, I can finally talk to you. Advertisement Chapter 160, Spirit of the Island, New Abilities. The sudden voice made Tsubei subconsciously think that an enemy was approaching. But the stereo detection of the heart of the island did not respond. Where did this sound come from? With doubts, Tsubei looked in the direction of the sound. Almost dropped my jaw. The original heart of the island has disappeared, replaced by a radiant little man? Fortunately, the property panel appeared in time in the field of vision. Spirit of the Island, the strange life born after the heart of the island merged with the flower of luck, loyalty. 100 Tsubei summed up the existing information. The heart of the island was not destroyed, but after the flower of luck was merged, a phenomenon similar to evolution or mutation occurred, and then it became the spirit of the island. How to say bizarre. Very bizarre. But can't fault it. After all, on the island of Tsubei, there is also a product of the fusion of meteorite iron and the heart of the island, star iron tiger. Now there are many island spirits, understandable. A hammer. Perhaps seeing Tsubei's delay in answering, Xiaoguangren's island spirit flew to Tsubei's shoulder anxiously, tapped Tsubei's forehead with his small hand, and at the same time imitated Katie's tone and said, Island Master, are you? It's not a headache, I'll rub it for you. And it won't hurt after rubbing it. Tsubei was startled and asked subconsciously, how did you know this? The spirit of the island wondered, Master, I am the spirit of the island, and everything on this island is within my observation. 66. Tsubei was silent for a moment, then said, normal creatures need sleep, you. The spirit of the island immediately replied, Master, don't worry, I'm definitely not lazy, I remember everything. Master, if you don't believe me, I'll replay it for you. That's it, you go to drink the herbal meal, I see that you are very happy, you should be impressed. 5. While speaking, the spirit of the island raised his little hand, and a light curtain appeared in the air. Seeing that the screen was about to start playing, Tsubei quickly stopped, don't play, I believe in you. 5. The spirit of the island was still very convinced of Tsubei, and immediately cancelled the light curtain. Tsubei was so frightened that his heart almost jumped out. This special island spirit also has a recording and playback function? Outrageous. Tsubei said solemnly, Spirit of the island, in the future, other than me, no one else can show this ability no matter who asks you, you know. 5. Yes, Master. The spirit of the island agreed immediately. It was only then that Tsubei remembered that he was shocked by the patronage just now, and forgot to ask the business. He still has a bunch of questions to figure out. Most importantly, safety must be ensured. The heart of the island is fused with the flower of luck, and he doesn't know what will change. However, the loyalty of the spirit of the island is 100, obviously the system is in effect. There should be no big problem. He was also not blasted out by the island world, indicating that his bond with the spirit of the island was not dissolved. After thinking for a moment, Tsubei said, the spirit of the island. I am here. Speak politely. Okay. I have a few questions. Master asks, I will answer exactly. Can you perceive the existence of the goddess of luck, or be perceived by the goddess of luck? Master, you can't. To be precise, all the gods can't perceive it. 99 Sube was slightly relieved. It would be nice if it didn't attract the attention of Lady Luck. Sube went on to ask, what are your abilities? The spirit of the island thought for a while and said, first of all, I can strengthen the connection between the master and the members of the island. As long as the other party is on the island, I can convey your words. Secondly, I can pass the stereoscopic detection information to others, but I need your authorization. By the way, there is a new function that has never existed before. Now I can mobilize the energy of the island for defense. Sube's eyes lit up. This function is good. He immediately asked, do you know the nether energy cannon on the island? Can it resist bombardment of that level? The spirit of the island nodded. Master, yes. But it will consume life energy. If it is bombarded for a long time, it will cause damage to the plants on the island. This is to be expected. But on the other hand, if the energy bomb cannot be intercepted, it will still damage the plant, and it will be more serious. Therefore, the price mentioned by the spirit of the island is completely within the acceptable range. As long as it can block the initial bombardment of the energy cannon, when the enemy's position is confirmed, he will immediately kill it to end the battle. The other two abilities mentioned by the spirit of the island are also very practical. Putting aside the first one, it is equivalent to a walkie-talkie, just more convenient. Seeking flowers. But the second ability, passing the information of stereo detection to others, is quite powerful. Sube can know when the monsters landed on the island and from where, but others. When facing the invasion, he needs to deal with it and conduct command and planning. There is always a delay. Sube has thought about how to amplify the advantages of stereo detection. But still no gain. Because only he is bound to the heart of the island, others are not. Didn't expect this problem to be solved today. It's a surprise. After thinking for a moment, Sube asked, will your form affect the island? The normal island heart is in contact with the island. But now the spirit of the island has broken away from the fixed gem state and has become a strange creature. The spirit of the island replied, Master, don't worry, you won't. Very good. Sube nodded and continued, you can change the shape, modify the current appearance, you can imitate the flower fairy, but the size is smaller, and remember to turn off the light emitting function. The spirit of the island began to change from good to good. In the end, she turned into a little girl with a height of more than 10 centimeters, with a cute face, wearing a white dress with transparent wings on her back. Sube nodded with satisfaction, yes, this looks very suitable. Thank you for the compliment, Master. The spirit of the island landed on Sube's shoulders with a smile. It is estimated that this habit was learned from Katie. Sube thought for a while and felt the need to tell everyone on the island about this, so he returned to the ground. Then he looked at the spirit of the island and said, help me spread the word to others and let them all come over. Island spirit immediately complied. After a while, Augur rushed over with a hammer, and shouted while running, Islander, it's not good. The island is haunted. Before he could finish speaking, Norton, who was behind Augur, kicked up and scolded, what nonsense are you talking about? Sube could not laugh or cry. Others arrived one after another and asked about the unfamiliar voice just now. When all the members gathered, Sube was about to introduce the spirit of the island when he saw the earth spirit and the others coming over. Link came up to greet you cordially, Master, I can finally talk to you. Gan. This chapter contains pictures. Click the illustration button in the lower right corner of the screen to view the pictures. Advertisement. Chapter 161. How come you are meow meow meow? Ling's voice was slightly vicissitudes. What he said gave Sube a strong sense of sight. The first sentence of the spirit of the island before seems to be similar. These elemental creatures are very willing to talk to him. Others had mixed reactions when they heard the voice. Augur exclaimed, it's this unfamiliar but familiar voice again. Yvette is very calm, she has a high level and strong strength. Even if she encounters an enemy, She is confident that she can deal with it. Looking around, Yvette quickly realized the source of the problem and asked, "Islander, why are these little guys on the island able to speak suddenly?" 95 others also reacted, and watched carefully around the Earth Spirit, and their mouths were amazed. At this time, other elemental creatures also spoke one after another, with different voices. But it is audible that they are imitated members of the island. The spirit of the island explained in Subei's ear, "Master, we don't have our own voice, so we can only imitate 640 and imitate others, and then make some modifications." Subei nodded, which he had guessed before. "Everyone." Subei opened his mouth and pulled everyone's traction over. Then he pointed to the spirit of the island on his shoulder, and said, "This is our new member, the incarnation of the heart of the island. The voice of calling you just now is what I asked her to convey. It is also her credit that they can speak, including the earth spirits." In fact, when everyone came, they had already seen the spirit of the island, but Subei didn't say it, and they didn't ask. Now that Subei began to introduce the identity of the spirit of the island, everyone expressed their amazement and gave them enough face. This is the wisdom of being a younger brother. However, Katie was a little unhappy, flew to the side of the island's spirit, and said angrily, "This is my position." 99 The spirit of the island was very generous, flew to the other's shoulder, and said at the same time, "Friend Katie, please take a seat." Katie flew up and sat down with a smile, shaking her calf, as if she had won the battle. Subei was very helpless, and immediately felt that something was wrong. Obviously both shoulders are his. While thinking about it, Yvette asked, "Islander, apart from helping you spread your voice, what role does the spirit of the island have, such as island defense?" Subei casts an admiring look. As expected of the captain of the mermaid patrol, the direction of thinking is professional. After thinking about it, Subei said to the spirit of the island, "Share the stereo detection with Yvette." The spirit of the island immediately replied, "Yes, master." Not seeing how many movements she made, Yvette was surprised, and then said happily, "Islander, this way, you will no longer be afraid of sneak attacks." Everyone else looked curious, and Subei decisively let the spirit of the island share the stereoscopic detection. Exclaimed, "This ability is so convenient. As long as there is an enemy landing on the island, you can receive the news. What is this concept? No matter how strict the defense is, there are loopholes. But three-dimensional detection is different. In front of this 360-degree three-dimensional defense system with no dead ends, any infiltration will become pale. As soon as the front foot stepped on the island, the back foot was surrounded. Eleanor said happily, "Great, if I have this ability, I don't have to tame so many turtles, and finally I don't have to be trained by Captain Yvette's devil." Yvette immediately cast a sharp look. It seems that her requirements are still too low, and Eleanor is still so energetic. Training has to be stepped up. Poor Eleanor had no idea that the miserable training had just begun. Subei pretended not to see the eye contact between several mermaids, and continued, "This ability will only be open to combatants in the future, and others can do their own things with peace of mind." Although everyone seemed to take the initiative to fight, they obeyed Subei's will and didn't say much. This is a reasonable arrangement. Like the flower fairies and the others, at most they are going to play with a harpoon. But now there are nether energy cannons, which are much more powerful than harpoons. Whether they participate in the war or not has little influence. It is better to stay in a safe area to brew nectar wine or prepare explosives, which can contribute more to the island. There are also people like Augur, whose top priority is to forge energy cannons, and they are not needed for combat. Each perform their duties. This is what Subei needs. Yvette said, "Island owner, looking at your appearance, I am afraid that the ability of the spirit of the island is more than that." Subei secretly gave a thumbs up. Yvette was so considerate and helped him lay the groundwork. Subei said, "Yes, there is another ability, and it is also the most important one." Everyone put on a posture of listening intently. Subei pointed to the nether energy cannon in the high place. "We were more than enough to attack, but not enough to defend. But, now, it has become a thing of the past, and the spirit of the island can mobilize the energy of the island for defense. Even the bombardment of the energy cannon will be intercepted outside the island. As soon as this statement came out, the whole audience was shocked. Even Yvette looked surprised and said, even in our clan's territory, only the palace has an energy barrier, and there are no other places. I didn't expect the spirit of the island to be able to protect the entire island. It's amazing. Avina secretly wiped her tears, and then said joyfully, my clan no longer has to be afraid. Tu Ling interjected, that's great, so you don't have to worry about the damage to the plants on the island. These were brought back by me, and if I were bombarded by energy cannons, I would have to cry to death. 5 others also opened their mouths to express their views, all with joy in their words. The island owner was right. This ability of the spirit of the island is indeed the most important. Never worry about being attacked by energy cannons in your sleep again. Even if the Dark Race sends official warships, don't even think about breaking the island defense. As long as they resist the first few waves of attacks, they will be able to lock the enemy's position and end the battle. On the whole, it is simply invincible. 2. Strong. Everyone gave a thumbs up to the spirit of the island. The small head of the spirit of the island is raised high, and the proud mood is beyond words. Meow meow meow. The gem cat drove the rock soldier from a distance and made a gesture. Su Bei lifted the back of the jewel cat's neck and placed it in front of him to observe carefully. At the same time, he said, even the earth spirit can speak, why are you still meow meow meow? 39 Yvette and others also gathered around. Indeed, with the assistance of the spirit of the island, the earth spirit split can speak, and there is no reason why the gem cat can t. Meow meow meow. The gem cat was lifted up in the air, obviously very upset. It opened its teeth and danced its claws, and it was still meowing. Su Bei lightly 2.5 patted its head and said, don't curse. Woo. The gem cat suddenly whimpered innocently, with big watery eyes and a pitiful appearance. Yvette and the others are about to melt. However, Su Bei was unmoved and sneered, don't put on a pretense and explain honestly why you can't speak. The gem cat closed his eyes and put on a stance that he was not afraid of death. Su Bei had no choice but to put the gem cat back on the rock soldier's head. Forget it, he didn't want to worry about it. Anyway, he can understand the meaning of the gem cat, so let it meow. The gem cat regained its freedom, and immediately drove the rock soldiers to run away. After running for a few dozen meters, he stopped and smugly meowed at Su Bei twice. Su Bei didn't care about it, but let everyone go back to their own business. He needs to study the abilities of the spirit of the island again. Advertisement Chapter 162 The Good News of Avina, the ability of the spirit of the island. In addition to these, on the bright side, there is a very convenient ability. She can receive Su Bei's ideas. The easiest way to apply it is that in the future, Su Bei does not need to pay attention to the navigation of the island all the time, just synchronize the thoughts to the spirit of the island. Island spirit will faithfully complete the plan. In addition, as long as Su Bei is on the island, all the commands he sends will be received by the spirit of the island. To put it bluntly, the current appearance of the spirit of the island is actually for the convenience of communication with Su Bei, so it is condensed and formed. She actually exists in every corner of the island. Su Bei can speak to the air while fighting, and continue to give instructions to the spirit of the island, thereby controlling the movement of the island. Instead, as before, we must always maintain the resonance with the heart of the island. It not only saves Su Bei's troubles, but also greatly complements the battle of the island. After all, so far, the strongest on the island is Su Bei. Even Yvette, who is a senior in silver, is not his opponent. Su Bei was restrained, and the loss of combat power was too great. Through his unique connection with the island spirit, Su Bei quickly mastered the full power of the island spirit. At the same time, he also knew another hidden energy of the spirit of the island, 17 forces. She can perceive the heart of the island within a certain range. Su Bei immediately noticed the strategic value behind it. He can find the other side before others find him. Then go to the investigation, determine the situation and then decide whether to do it or not. It is the island owner of Longo, then there is nothing to worry about, and go around. If it's a lighthouse, a stick, or fusenison, then I'm sorry, Just wait for the bombardment. Concentrating his mind, Sube began to think about what to do next. It was originally planned to explore the enchanted island with Yvette and the others, and in 4 hours, it was almost time for dinner. As a result, the Flower of Luck was found on the second enchanted island, which took less than a quarter of an hour. It is very different from the original plan. Although it was too late to open another coordinate jade ultimatum, Yvette said when they left just now that they wanted to tame a few marine creatures to supplement their combat power, and it would take a little time. And this way, Sube suddenly found that he had nothing to do. You have to find something to do, otherwise it will be boring. Sube decisively opened the chat area and started diving to see what other people were doing. Then he discovered an opportunity. Some trainee island owners encountered rain. Although not at the level of a storm, there are still many monsters taking the opportunity to land on the island. Several island owners have died, and there are more than a dozen who have been forced to give up their status as island owners. The remaining island owners who are still insisting are also complaining and frantically asking for help. Sube walked to the alchemy room while browsing the chat history. It's time to take out the explosive potion and cut the leaks. No, it is to help others. It is my duty to fight against island monsters. It's just that the explosive medicine is carefully prepared by the Flower Fairy, and it is a little expensive, which is reasonable. Coming to the alchemy room, Sube asked directly, how many explosive potions are there now? 35. Avina flew over to report, back to the island owner, there are not many, only 130 bottles. I have lived up to your expectations. Sube waved his hand, I started to prepare it yesterday, and it is not easy to have more than 100 bottles, so I don't need to blame myself. Thank you for your forgiveness. Avina raised her skirt in thanks, and then said, Islander needs an explosive potion, right? It's all here. 99. Saying that, Avina brought Sube to the corner of the alchemy room, where the explosive potions were neatly placed in the box. A smile appeared on Sube's mouth. This time, those island owners had to be cut again. Avina said next to him, Island owner, when the new Flower Fairy is born, whether it is nectar wine or explosive potion, the output will be greatly increased. This news is much more important than cutting leaks. Sube closed the chat area, looked at Avina and said, in the materials I have read, the conditions for the birth of the Flower Fairy are very harsh. No problem. The birth of Flower Fairies is different from ordinary creatures. They were not born after union, but were born directly in the flower field under certain specific conditions. As for the conditions, Sube is unknown. Not to mention him, even the aborigines in the island world don't know. This is the secret of the Flower Fairy. Avina replied, it was not possible at first, but since the concentration of aura on the island has been greatly increased, it is completely feasible. Sube was taken aback. It turned out to be the result of the magic field. From this point of view, the effect of the legendary entry, 4 grain plenty, can almost catch up with the mythical level. The scope of action is too broad. After pondering for a moment, Sube said, if there is any difficulty, tell me directly. You must ensure that the new Flower Fairy is born smoothly. Understand? Aviana's face was solemn, and she said with a serious face, the island owner can rest assured that this matter is related to the survival of our clan, and he will definitely be cautious. 39. After letting the spirit of the island pay attention to this matter and provide maximum convenience, Sube returned to the villa with the explosive potion. The Flower Fairy is working, so he should not bother here. Putting down the box containing the explosive potion, Sube opened the chat area. Dragon Kingdom. Sube, all the island owners who fought hard, I have given you benefits. I have a batch of explosive potions here, which can help you get through the difficulties. With photos. This post was topped by Island World. The apprentice island owners clicked the picture for the first time. Above is a photo of the explosive potion and an introduction to its properties. The chat area was buzzing again, and countless island owners started asking how Sube was going to sell. Especially those island owners who were beaten by monsters and screamed. They made direct bids and were eager to buy explosive potions. Although this thing only lasted for 3 minutes, it was enough to repel the monster's offensive. 640 and they can completely burst out in sections. arranging 1 or 2 power users to use the burst potion at a time. It will definitely last until the rain stops. Their response was also the strongest. If it weren't for the chat area, they would have slapped Tsubei's face directly on the valuable things on the island, and then exchanged it for the explosive potion. Tsubei was also very relieved to see the crowd so enthusiastic. It's nice to be able to help other people, and it's a good feeling to do something good. Then the lion opened his mouth in the chat area and raised the sickle high. Dragon Kingdom, Tsubei, 1 silver level plant or 10 bronze level plants are exchanged for a bottle, and the black iron level will not come, and the island cannot be planted. As soon as this statement came out, the other island owners were angry on the spot. Protest, serious protest. The key is to cut the leaks. After all, you really need this thing to save your life. Then close the chat area and the trading center, and ignore this matter. This is not to send welfare, it is completely to cut them as leaks. However, can you cut points less? He received news from Yvette that he had just tamed a silver level water cannon turtle, and asked him to check it out. There is no requirement for the grade of the plant, even if it is a low-grade bronze. There are 10 plants. Good guy. This knife came down and almost lifted the roots. But Tsubei didn't want to talk nonsense with others, so he directly opened the trading center and sold 130 bottles of explosive medicine at a fixed price. It's so dark. Advertisement. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Goblin Fleet. With the spirit of the island, Yvette can directly initiate a call application by the lake, and it is very convenient for long-distance contact. Tsubei came to the lake, greeted Yvette and the others, and then saw the water cannon turtle that Yvette said. Name, water cannon turtle. Level, silver. Lower skills, 1, water compression. 2, acceleration. 3, turtle shell defense. Description, a sea turtle that has evolved a unique fighting style. Please rehydrate it in time. During wartime the hull is just a turtle. But the most conspicuous are the 2 horny tubes on its back. Like a gun barrel. It really fits its name. The newly added silver low-level water cannon turtle has a very powerful offensive ability. The 2 horn barrels are capable of continuous bombardment. Although it is not as exaggerated as the nether energy cannon, it is not difficult to kill bronze-level enemies in seconds. The most important thing is that the water cannon turtle is flexible. Digging into the sea, there is no trace at all. It is suitable for defending against the enemies from the sea. When the wild boar fleet came before, if there was this water cannon turtle, it might not have to use the nether energy cannon to shoot, and it would be sunk outside the defense circle. Satisfied, Tsubei praised, "Very good. Try to tame a few more, so that the island will be safer." Yvette immediately took the order and replied loudly, "The island owner can rest assured," and promised to complete the task. Afterwards, Yvette said, "Islander, next we are going to exercise all around Eleanor. Please don't interfere, don't let her rest just because you pity Eleanor." Eleanor's expression collapsed on the spot. She originally thought that after Yvette found the water cannon turtle, she would be able to reduce her attention, but she didn't expect to remember this. And he also gave the island owner a vaccination in advance. There was only one thought in Eleanor's mind. Captain Yvette, that's so bad. Immediately, she looked at Tsubei with pitiful eyes, hoping that the island owner could help her with a good word. Tsubei is in trouble. The palms and backs are full of meat. Eleanor and Yvette are both his subordinates now, and it would be inappropriate to refute anyone. Yvette's starting point is good. Let Eleanor be promoted as soon as possible, and strengthen the power of the island. It's just that Tsubei doesn't have too many demands on Eleanor. Although Eleanor is promoted to the silver level, he can tame silver level marine creatures. But with Yvette and the others around, they can achieve the same goal. And now the comprehensive strength of the island is constantly improving. Whether Eleanor's promotion or not cannot have a decisive impact. Tsubei also never expected to throw the burden of battle on others. This is his island, and he is the owner of the island. Fighting is the duty. While thinking about it, Yvette said, Eleanor, the island is our new home, and defending our home is our duty. How can we back down? Eleanor looked aggrieved. Captain Yvette, I'm not shrinking, it's just that your training plan is a bit difficult for me. Tsubei stood up decisively to mediate. Yvette, you, Nye and Doreen are members of the patrol team, so you are mentally prepared for training. But Eleanor is different. She is just an ordinary mermaid, not suitable for professional training methods. Training is training, but it needs to be slightly modified. I think you, the captain of the patrol team, can find a balance, right? Afterwards, Tsubei said, the haste is not enough, and the winner is the one who can reach the finish line in the end. Yvette was silent for a moment, bowed and saluted, and said sincerely, the island owner said very well, I was too impatient. Afterwards, Yvette looked at Eleanor. Eleanor, please forgive my mistakes. Eleanor waved her hands again and said, Captain Yvette is serious, I am too lazy to live up to your trust. 5. The atmosphere was peaceful. At this time, the prompt of the island world jumped out. The items you listed have been sold. Please receive the materials in time. Tsubei opens the trading center. 130 bottles of explosives have been sold out. Check out the transaction history. Except for more than 30 bottles that were bought sporadically, the remaining nearly 100 bottles were all bought by a Maple Leaf Islander named Whitley. Wheatley of Maple Leaf Country. The name Tsubei has no impression. The result was a big shot. Nearly 100 bottles of explosive potions were all bought with bronze-level Baling Narcissus. Although they are all annual herbs, their value is not low. Tsubei decisively accepted the transfer and handed it over to Tu Ling for the transplant. As soon as Tu Ling left with Baling Narcissus, Eleanor reported, Island owner, there are heavy water turtles in return. When they were hunting for food 20 nautical miles away, they found several boats. Fleet again. Tsubei wondered, either he didn't meet them, or they met one after another. Don't be a bore again. Tsubei muttered secretly. Yvette, who was next to him, listened to it and decisively asked for battle. Islander, let me and the water cannon turtle go over and have a look. If it is really the accomplices of those wild boars, they will sink their fleet. 35. When she said this, Yvette's tone was very firm. Apparently, the poisonous mud she had found on the boar's fleet had made her brooding. Tsubei didn't agree immediately, but first took Yvette and the others to a high place to observe. The fleet in the distance was smaller, with 6 ships. The flag hoisted was not a boar, but a goblin. Goblin appears here, it is more interesting. And looking at their goal, it was to the island of Tsubei. Tsubei pondered for a moment, then said, Yvette, Nye, and Doreen, the 3 of you go together and keep a safe distance. Eleanor, let your turtle team follow along. Listen to Yvette's command, you stay on the island yourself. 39. After a pause, Tsubei said, if those goblins want to trade with us, let them stop 10 nautical miles away. If there is an intention to attack, directly sink it. Yvette immediately replied, yes, the mission must be completed. Yvette took Nye and Doreen, put on equipment, and led the turtles to the goblin fleet in the distance. Tsubei stayed on high, thinking about the purpose of the goblin. Goblins are greedy by nature, and they are active in all parts of the island world, forming caravans and conducting trade. If they meet a suitable target, they will also turn into pirates or thieves, making a deal without money. But the goblin alone, obviously cannot do this. The goblins are short and thin, and normal humans can rub them against the ground, not to mention the many strong clans in the island world. They can travel around the island world, relying on their subordinates, the kings, thugs. Most of the aborigines in the island world are reluctant to leave their place of residence, and they need to buy some of the necessary supplies from the caravan. Therefore, goblins are generally rich and will hire natives as bodyguards. Or entangle like-minded drone to act together. According to the rumors, those top goblins possess terrifying wealth, and their influence should not be underestimated. And the human island owner is actually willing to contact goblins. Because they can always bring some unexpected goods. While thinking about it, the fleet in the distance began to slow down. They found the 3 vets who were approaching, and used the flag to show that there was no malicious intent. However, Tsubei did not take it lightly. and just asked Ding Sina and the others to aim at the largest ship in the fleet. Once there is an abnormality, attack directly. However, such a thing did not happen. After Yvette and the other party briefly communicated, the fleet started slowly again, and finally stopped 10 nautical miles away. Afterwards, Yvette left the turtle team on guard, and she and Nia Doreen returned to the island. Advertisement Chapter 164 Slave Merchant Clazen. Seeing Yvette and the three returning, Su Bei stepped down from the heights and came to the shore to wait for a report. As a silver high-level powerhouse, Yvette's speed is beyond doubt. But she had to wait for Nia and Doreen, so she could only control the speed. Su Bei couldn't help but think of the seahorse chariot they were in when they first came. That speed is several times faster than Blue Star's motorboat. Most importantly, a handsome stroke. Su Bei felt the need to build one that he could drive around the sea in his spare time. Delicious. It's just that according to Yvette, there are not many floating seahorses, and they are mainly raised by the mermaid family. Other seas are not so easy to find. In addition, the construction of the chariot also requires a rare gem such as a hanging crystal. Su Bei has asked Shen Qingling to help buy the crystal, and as long as it is in place, let Augur and the others build the chariot. As for the floating seahorse, if you really can't find it, you can tame 2 dolphins, and the speed is not slow. While thinking about it, the three of Yvette returned to the island and landed ashore. How is the situation? Su Bei asked. Yvette replied respectfully, Island owner, it is initially determined that the other party's identity is a traitor, but he is mainly engaged in slave trade. The highest strength of the members on the ship is silver intermediate, so there is nothing to be afraid of. When speaking, Yvette's expression was conflicted. This is also normal. The reputation of slave traders is not very good in the island world. If Yvette was still the captain of the original mermaid patrol, he might have attacked directly when he confirmed the identity of the other party. Su Bei didn't have much thought. It even felt that the fleet came at the right time. If there are suitable slaves, he would like to buy some. As for the loyalty issue that other island owners are most worried about, it was precisely the least of his worries here. With this in mind, Su Bei said, since it is a slave trader, there may be captured slaves on their ships. We have to rescue those innocent people, but we must not break the rules. Let the caravan leader take the lead. Commodity list here. Tell them, as long as there is one more, the nether energy cannon will send them to the sky. Yvette took the order and walked on the waves. Soon, a small boat was put down on the opposite fleet. 2 heavy water turtles surfaced and dragged the boat forward. When the boat approached, Su Bei saw a figure in the boat, a green-skinned creature about 1 meter 2 tall. Similar to Goblin, but with a thinner body. The level is not high, only the lower level of bronze. Dressed is extraordinarily gorgeous. BHCF there are gemstone rings on all 10 fingers. Dressed up, they all mean the same thing. The locals are rich. And the most interesting thing is his eyes. Full of cunning, constantly turning, wanting to collect more intelligence. But this goblin is destined to be disappointed. The spirit of the island has long controlled the fog and covered the island. All the goblins can see is the speech. As soon as the boat docked, the goblin jumped over and chatted. Clang. Yvette's trident flew over and pinned it in front of the goblin. The goblin suddenly stiffened and did not dare to be presumptuous. Yvette stepped forward, withdrew the trident, with frost on her face, and scolded, "Before my lord, don't be rude." It was obvious that the goblin was shocked. He recognized the identities of the 3 vets and knew that they were from the mermaid patrol. I'm still wondering when the mermaids will move to a moving island again. Don't they hate landing? As a result, he landed and found that things were completely different from what he had imagined. This is a human island. Not only that, what did this mermaid say just now, my lord? The mermaid patrol actually surrendered to the human island owner? This is really great news. The goblin felt that he was already well informed in his travels, but the scene in front of him still couldn't be fixed for him. Su Bei waved his hand to signal Yvette not to be nervous. Then he said, "Glazen, when did you take refuge in the dark race?" 35. As soon as these words came out, the goblin on the opposite side almost jumped up in shock. Yvette even clenched her trident tightly, preparing to smash this disgusting goblin with a fork. In Su Bei's field of vision, The Goblin's attribute panel can be clearly seen. Name, Kristen. Goblin level, Bronze. Lower skills, 1, Fraud. 2, Wealth. Intuition. A description, Slave merchant. Don't trust his words, or the end will be miserable. The most crucial point is that Crescent cannot refresh the entry. This kind of situation can only occur when it is corroded by demonic energy. Glazon, on the other hand, had a clear mind and mastered a caravan of 6 ships. Then there is only one possibility. Crescent was a vassal of the dark race, and was affected by the demonic energy, but he did not go mad. Sube came up to reveal Crescent's identity, not to kill him, but to take the initiative in the follow-up trade and cut more prices. In fact, after learning about Crescent's identity, Sube has a plan. Now, it is in steady progress. Goblin Crescent was terrified now. He never thought that the identity he had tried so hard to hide would be broken by a single word from the human being on the opposite side. However, adhering to the mentality of not shedding tears without seeing the coffin, Crescent forced a smile on his face and said in a stumbling common language, "Human Island Master, I don't know what you are talking about." "Really?" 35 Sube, half smiling, turned and said, "Maybe I'm wrong." Having said that, Crescent still did not dare to relax his vigilance. He knew very well that this human being on the other side must know something. While frightened, Glazon's brain is also racing, thinking about how to maximize profit. A goblin who doesn't want to make money is not a good goblin. Since the human being in front of him did not let the mermaid under his command kill him, it means that there is still room for things to turn around. Crescent quickly got to the point. This human does not want to kill him, but wants to take the opportunity to bargain. Crescent suddenly felt a rivalry, and said quickly, "My friend, I heard that you are interested in my product list, and you don't know what you want to buy." Sube nodded secretly. This goblin still has 2 brushes to master 6 ships with the strength of a bronze subordinate. While speaking, Crescent took out a few pieces of parchment from his arms and carefully spread them out on the ground. He wanted to introduce Sube directly. But Yvette's sharp eyes made him not dare to act rashly. Crescent even suspected that if he handed the parchment to the human being in front of him, he might be branded as a conspiracy and then killed by a fork. Sube picked up the parchment and started flipping through it. Yvette said eagerly, "Islander, be careful of poison." Sube waved his hand and said casually, "Ordinary toxins can't hurt me, don't worry. In addition, presumably your excellency Glazon will not carry poisons with him, but he will be shot." 99 Crescent dared not speak. The text on the parchment is the lingua franca of the island world, which Sube can read without hindrance. The above clearly lists the type and number of slaves currently in the fleet. Ansk Sheafhead, number 5. Blood Clumbles, number 11. Thunder Bear, number 3. Advertisement. Chapter 165, Alpine Elf, Crescent's mission. Sube looked at the parchment list, and said casually, "Glazon, you have quite a lot of goods." Crescent quickly explained, "My friend, you don't know, there have been frequent battles between the Aborigines recently, resulting in a large number of prisoners. We uphold humanitarianism and bought them, so the number is relatively large." Yvette immediately scoffed, obviously disagreeing with this statement. Sube waved his hand and said, "There's nothing wrong with this statement. If those prisoners were not bought by Crescent, most of them would not survive in the end." Yvette was silent. Disputes between Aboriginal peoples are common, including the mermaid family. They often fight against the Dark-Tide Merliks, and the captured Dark-Tide Merliks will be executed. Of course, Sube's remarks did not agree with Crescent. What kind of humanitarianism? It's just an excuse. But arguing about this is no nonsense. After reading the list, Sube looked at Crescent and said, "Crescent, the hidden list, take it out. Just a few captives are not worthy of the size of your fleet." 5 Glazon said immediately, "My friend, you misunderstood me. There are really only so many. Those 6 ships are not all full, and there are many empty." Sube said directly into the air, "Sink the ship on the far left." The order was passed to the fort by the spirit of the island, and Ding Sina and the others acted immediately. Boom. 2 cannons rang out, and energy bombs flew out, sinking ships in the distance. Even if the iron plate is mounted, The merchant ship is still unable to resist in front of the nether energy cannon. Kristen's face changed greatly, and he said with a warning, "Human, do you want to be our enemy?" Subei curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Just because of the fact that you have taken refuge with the dark race, it will be fine for me to sink the entire fleet. Or, do you want to be judged by the mermaid race?" Yvette immediately took 2 steps forward. "Islander, please let me take this abominable goblin to the mermaid territory and hand it over to the queen." When he heard that he was going to the mermaid territory, Crescent resolutely admitted his cowardice, put on a smile and said, "My friend, why bother? You have something to say." "The hidden list you want is in my head, and I'll tell you. Just by looking at the expression, it was completely impossible to see that Crescent had just lost a ship. However, Yvette and the others have already sensed that the ship did not have much life breath. It was a baggage ship. If the ship carrying the slaves was sunk, it is estimated that Crescent would be furious with Subei. For a goblin, you can humiliate him and beat him, but you just can't make him lose money. Subei also put on a smile and said, "That's right, tell me, what else do you have?" 35 Crescent looked around, then lowered his voice and said, "There are 2 elves on my boat." "Elf?" Subei asked calmly, "Which branch? If it's a black elf, then I won't accept it." 35 The black elves are of the dark race, and the demonic energy is their ration. At this stage, Subei cannot be conquered by means of fixed entries, so it is definitely not necessary. Crescent sneered and said embarrassedly, "The black elves are powerful, we are not opponents." This is a rhetoric. Give Crescent 100 courage, and he wouldn't dare to catch the black elves. There is no reason for a slave to catch the master. Crescent continued, "It's the mountain elf." Mountain elf. As the name suggests, it is a tribe of elves living in the mountains. Alpine is not a random mountain or a mountain, but refers specifically to the Scudder Mountain, which is a mountain range with extremely steep terrain. But here's the problem. The area where the Alpine elves live is not known how many miles away from here. To describe it in terms of 108,000 miles, there is no problem at all. How could the mountain elves wander into this place? Crescent explained, "We didn't capture these 2 mountain elves, but bought them from others." This explanation is reasonable. But there are still doubts. Subei asked, "I heard that the elves are all handsome and beautiful, and they are generally reluctant to sell them, so how can you buy them?" Immediately, Subei said, "I hope you don't play tricks. I don't mind killing you, and then board the ship to investigate." 35 Crescent smiled, "Don't dare, don't dare." 99 After hesitating for a moment, Clayson was heartbroken and said, "My friend, I can only tell you about this." 99 The implication is to let Yvette and the others leave first. Yvette raised her eyebrows and raised her trident. Although Crescent was trembling with fear, he still insisted on his opinion. "This matter has something to do with the human beings of the Blue Star, my friend, you have to believe me." 5 Wait, Subei said, looking at Yvette and the others, "You guys leave first." "Island owner, it's too dangerous," Yvette advised. "This place is carefully conceived. I think it's better to kill it directly." Crescent turned pale. "My heart is doubting life. The good mermaid is peace-loving. How could this one shut up and kill him? It's outrageous." Subei said calmly, "Don't worry, with Crescent's strength, I can hack him to death a dozen times in an instant." Crescent laughed dryly, and did not forget to compliment, "My friend, you are really powerful." Yvette and the others retreated into the mist, and before leaving, they did not forget to warn Crescent with their eyes. Crescent is regretting it now, very regretful, and he would not have come here if he knew it earlier. When a heavy ship is sunk, how many slaves have to be sold to make up for it? Subei raised his chin, "Tell me, what's wrong with those 2 mountain elves?" Crescent struggled with his mind and said slowly, "To be honest, these 2 elves originally wanted to be sent to the human island master, and I remember they were called the Lighthouse Kingdom. Middle. For flowers lighthouse country." Hearing this word in Crescent's mouth is both unexpected and reasonable. Crescent said, "My upper peak ordered me to use these 2 elves to connect with the island owner of the lighthouse country, and then transport some living people there." Subei made a gesture, "Go on." "Anyway, everything has been said. Clayson unloaded the psychological burden, and directly revealed his entire task. In fact, it is very simple, using the elves as gifts, and establishing trade relations with the island owner of the lighthouse country. Then use him as a middleman to transport the human beings to the territory of the dark race. As for why this was done, Crescent had no idea. Tsubei began to analyze the authenticity of this piece of information. It sounds outrageous. But intuition told him it was true. It's just what the dark race wants humans to do. It has been 100 years since human beings came to the island world, and there are indeed many people who were taken away by the dark race at the beginning. However, after the follow-up study of the dark tribes, they didn't care about it, and continued to fight the aborigines. Of course, because the human island owners generally tend to cooperate with the aborigines, they have become a thorn in the eyes of the dark people. In addition, the will of the island world is inclined towards human beings, giving them the qualifications to become island owners, which can also be regarded as strengthening the strength of the aborigines in disguise. So as long as there is a chance, the dark race will rush to the island to fight and kill. But that's about it. At most, the corpses are taken away and used as food. Why is the idea of a human being suddenly started now, and it has to be a living person? There must be a problem here, but without more information, it is impossible to calculate the plan of the dark race. You can only put it in your heart first, and then explore it later. As for why Clayson is looking for the Lord of the Lighthouse Kingdom, it is not difficult to understand. You say so, my friend. After thinking for a moment, Tsubei asked, "Let's believe what you said is true. I have another question." Crescent spread his hands, with a helpless expression on his face. "My friend, the task can be done in other ways, and it is similar to other aboriginal slaves, but there is only one life." Tsubei looked at Crescent and said slowly, "I will definitely not miss these two mountain elves. Without them, how would you complete the task? They are connoisseurs and have done this kind of business a lot before. This will help Shangfeng to complete the task better. Between completing the task and surviving, I definitely prefer to live." Tsubei thought for a moment, smiling. "You're right, friend Crescent." 99 dry. Speaking of this, Crescent looked sad and sighed. "To be honest, it is the first time I have met such a decisive human island master as you." Advertisement Chapter 166 Cooperation. Crescent slumped on the beach, gasping for breath. When Tsubei uttered the word Crescent's friend, he knew that his life was saved. Strange to say, this human being in front of him is clearly only a bronze high-ranking person, but the feeling of oppression given to him is something that those gold-ranked powerhouses have never had. Crescent immediately sensed the value in it. If you can have a good relationship with this human being, it will be countless money. Thinking of this, Crescent suddenly became more energetic, stood up and asked respectfully, "My friend, I still don't know your name." "Tsubei." "Okay, Your Excellency Tsubei." Crescent performed a general courtesy, and then asked excitedly, "If Your Excellency is interested in those two elves, I will bring a message back and ask them to deliver it." 5 In my grandmother's name, that's definitely the most beautiful mountain elf I've ever seen. "Oh, yes, please rest assured, Your Excellency, they are still intact. It was specially chosen by my upper peak to execute the plan." Tsubei waved his hand. "No need for 640, I still have a few questions." Crescent almost fell down again with a weak leg. "Why is there still a problem?" "Don't be nervous, I won't kill you." Tsubei smiled. "On the contrary, I am ready to establish a long-term cooperative relationship with you." 35 Clayson rolled his eyes and immediately understood what Tsubei meant, patted his chest and assured, "Don't worry, Your Excellency, no matter what kind of prisoner you want, I can get it." 99 Crescent rubbed his hands together. "It's just a reward." Tsubei immediately replied, "Don't think about human beings, I'm not someone from the lighthouse country." "Okay." Crescent felt a little pity, then thought of something, and asked tentatively, "Did you buy the nether energy cannon on your island?" Tsubei said, "Don't guess, it was made by the dwarves under my command." Crescent was startled. "What's the matter with this Excellency? Not only can he subdue the mermaid patrol, but even the stubborn dwarf can be subdued. More and more, Clayson felt that he had a lot of money ahead of him. After thinking for a while, Kristen said, "If that's the case, then you can use dwarf equipment to pay for it. Dwarf weapons are very valuable, and they don't take up much space. When I go back, I can pull some other goods to sell." Sube smiled. "You have a good plan." Under Kristen's expectant gaze, Sube nodded and said, "No problem, I'll settle with dwarf equipment later." Speaking of this, Sube smiled slightly and began to attract business for his forge. "Actually, you don't have to be so rigid. You can take some equipment orders from the Aborigines, and we will work together to make this business bigger and stronger, and each will take what he has." Need. Crescent seemed to have found a confidant and nodded quickly, "Yes, yes. What Your Excellency Sube said is really right." Afterwards, Crescent said with emotion, "It's a pity that Your Excellency is the island owner, otherwise, if you do trade with us, you will definitely be a good player." Sube ignored Clason's compliments and continued, "You can make a bid for those 2 mountain elves. Besides the elves, I saw that there are 3 Tauren on your cargo list, and I want them as well. The Tauren is the best soldier, with rough skin and strong power, and a gentle temperament and good control. Of the other slaves on the list, Sube couldn't care less. So ugly. Crescent immediately said, "Your Excellency, I gave those 2 elves to you. Anyway, they were originally given to me to complete the task from the peak, and I can do it with other slaves. As for the Tauren, 3 Tauren are worth 30 sets of dwarven equipment." 35 Sube was in business and decided to bargain. 30 sets are too many, and I don't have much stock here, so this time I can only pay with constant gold ingots. Crescent immediately calculated, eternal gold ingots are also fine. A Tauren can exchange for a constant gold ingot of the same weight. Sube raised his fingers and shook it from side to side. "The same weight is not acceptable, at most 70%. Crescent cried out, "My friend, you are trying to make me lose money. 90%, at least 90%. 39 Sube pouted, "It's no wonder that you will lose money. 70% of the money is given to you. I'm a gold ingot, not ore. 80%, love it or not." Crescent smiled, 80%, just be a friend. Sube went on to say, "Since I sank one of your ships, I'll give you some food as compensation, just in time for a new harvest." Crescent was stunned for a moment, then said seriously, "Your Excellency Sube, you really make me unable to see through." 9 Although the ship was sunk by Sube's order, Crescent did not hold grudges. If Sube hadn't even mentioned it, he would have almost forgotten about the ship. In Crescent's view, being able to connect with Sube is the most important thing. For this reason, let alone the loss of one ship, even 2 more ships would not be a loss. Crescent thought for a moment and said, "Lord Sube, according to my perception, your island is moving, so how can I find you in the future?" Sube replied, "If you follow this ocean current, you will always find me." Then, Sube said meaningfully, "Even if you can't find it, your upper peak will definitely find me." Crescent laughed dryly, not daring to answer. To tell the truth, until now, Crescent didn't know where he showed his flaws. Only he himself knew the secret of his refuge in the dark race, and he did not have much devilish energy. Even the Aborigines did not find out. How did Sube know? Crescent couldn't figure it out. And this also made his evaluation of Sube a little higher. The unknown is the most terrifying. Calm down, Crescent said, "Your Excellency Sube, I will return to the fleet and bring the elves and Tauren over. You need to call a few turtles, otherwise the boat will not be able to be dragged." Sube nodded, called Yvette and the others back, and then set up a task. Soon, the turtles were towing the boat back to the distant fleet. When Crescent left, Yvette said, "Islander, just let him leave like this." Sube touched Yvette's head and said softly, "Don't worry, there will be a chance." Yvette blushed, and her heartbeat was a little chaotic. As for Crescent, she had long been thrown out of the sky by her. Since the island owner said not to kill the goblin, he would not kill it. Eleanor pouted and leaned over, I want to. Sube was helpless and could only reach out and touch Eleanor's head. Eleanor was satisfied. Nye and Doreen also silently gathered around. Sube could only touch his head one by one. While chatting, Kristen returned to the fleet in the distance, then put down 3 small boats, and 5 figures boarded one after another. Immediately afterwards, the turtle team towed the boat back. Sube said to Eleanor, "I will add a meal to the turtle team. In the past, but today they are exhausted." Eleanor naturally agreed, and then pointed to the boat in the distance and exclaimed, "Oh, it's really a elf, so beautiful." In fact, even though Eleanor didn't say it, Sube had already seen it. Even if they are separated by a kilometer, they can feel the elegance of the 2 elves. And that unparalleled face. It could be seen that Kristen did not dare to be presumptuous towards these 2 elves. Although they were imprisoned, they were still in good condition. Then, Sube looked at the Tauren in the boat next to him. The first feeling is burly. Even when curled up, it is nearly 2 meters. If he stood up straight, he would be 2.5 meters tall and over 3 meters tall, plus that tendon. There is absolutely no problem in killing a cow with 1 punch. 2 elves and 3 Tauren have metal collars around their necks. That is a magic seal engraved with runes, and the effect is to block the fluctuation of magic power. Without the blessing of magic, no matter how powerful the elves can only rest. As for the Tauren, no matter how strong they are, they can't hold back their hunger, and they have shackles on their hands and feet. Across the distance, Kristen shouted, "Your Excellency, this is the bodyguard behind me, to prevent the Tauren from running wild. Please don't misunderstand." In fact, even if Kristen didn't say it, Sube knew that he wouldn't have any additional thoughts. This goblin will not joke about his own life. And just relying on the silver mid-level troll thug behind him is really not enough. Without Sube's shot, a vet could be killed with a fork. The boat docked. The 2 elves landed slowly, looked at Sube and saluted. "Are you our master?" Advertisement. Chapter 167. The Master of Potions and the Master of Magic Patterns. I don't know if it's because of the high character in the name of the mountain elves. The 2 elves were tall, a head taller than Sube. But it looks very harmonious. The 2 elves had fair complexion, and their faces were not the same. The biggest difference is the hair color. The one on the left has long dark green hair, and the color on the right is slightly lighter and somewhat bluish. The aborigines of the island world, if nothing else, just this hair color, even Blue Star Anthropology can't learn it. Kristen kept the troll thugs on the boat, walked over by himself, handed a bunch of keys to Sube, and said, "Your Excellency, this is the corresponding key. You must open the collar only when it is safe to do so." 99 Kristen remonstrated. "We must not let our guard down just because of the appearance of these 2 elves. They are gold-level powerhouses. If it wasn't for Kristen's top shot, they wouldn't be able to catch them." Coupled with the magic affinity of elves, once it erupts, the consequences are unimaginable. Sube also did not expect that the first batch of gold-level powerhouses on his island turned out to be captured mountain elves. He glanced at it and saw the attributes of the 2 elves in his eyes. The elf with dark green long hair is named Helena. 17, Name, Helena, Alpine Elf Level, Gold Intermediate Skills, 1, Magic Control 2, Natural Affinity 3, Potions Master 4, Concealment Entry, Refreshable, 1 Description, a powerful mountain elf. She hides the anger of revenge in her heart. You can refresh the entry and let Sube's worries go away. No matter what the entry is, as long as it is fixed, this elf is his subordinate. Next to it is a elf named Eve. Name, Eve, Alpine Elf Level, Gold Lower Skills, 1, Magic Control 2, Design Mastery 3, Magic Pattern Master 4, Arcane Affinity Entry, Refreshable, 1 Description, a scholar obsessed with magic pattern research. Sube was startled. Good guy, 2 masters. Are masters so worthless now? Potions and magic patterns? These 2 disciplines Sube has heard of. This is the unique knowledge of the island world. If you want to get started, the basic condition is to obtain the inheritance of the legal system. Sube has already turned into a demon slayer, and it is difficult to achieve anything in this area. But he didn't think so either. Let him sit there and bury his head in research. It is better to give him a knife. Back to potions and magecraft. The former is easy to understand, that is, The preparation of medicines. The explosive potion formula re-engraved by the Lin family sisters belongs to potions. The magic pattern is another form of expression, somewhat similar to Blue Star's tattoo. But the effect is completely different. Blue Star's tattoos are purely ornamental. And the magic pattern of the island world has an increase in combat power. By drawing different forms of magic patterns on the body, the corresponding attributes can be improved. For example, the power increase magic pattern can increase the power. The specific effect still depends on the level of the painter and the basic attributes of the user. The magic pattern cannot achieve the power from 0 to 1, but it can achieve from 1 to 2 or even 3. Strong is strong. This is the basic feature of magecraft. But even in the island world, magic pattern is high in end knowledge, and the entry threshold is extremely high. Basically only the elves will study. Because they live long. Ordinary aboriginal magic patterns are just getting started, and they are about to die of old age, let alone become a master. Thinking of this, Sube looked at Helena and Eve a little strangely. These two elves look charming, but their actual age. Can't think, can't stand careful consideration. Sube calmed down and looked at the 3 Tauren beside him. 2 bronze premium and 1 bronze premium. Strength is not bad. After cultivating on the island for a period of time, it is estimated that he will be able to make a breakthrough with the help of the rich spiritual energy here. At that time, adding 1 or 2 silver level combat powers will be quite perfect. In fact, Sube wanted to buy a few dwarves if he could. It's a pity that they didn't, so they had to settle for the next best thing and chose 3 Tauren from a bunch of slaves. It can be seen that in order to prevent the 3 Tauren from going mad, Crescent starved them for a long time, so that he was a little fluttering when he walked. Sube looked at the elf and the Tauren and said, "You will live on this island in the future. Go to the side to rest first, and I will come back later." Then Sube gave Yvette a wink. Yvette understood and took the elves and Tauren into the mist. Crescent's eyes widened. Still nothing. The same goes for the troll thug on the boat. No matter how he perceives it, he cannot detect the situation after the fog. Sube pretended not to see their small movements, snapped his fingers, and Tuling and the younger brothers brought boxes of food to the beach. Sube lifted several large boxes with one hand and put them into the boat with ease. The trolls were dumbfounded. Is this still a human being? His strength is even greater than his. When the food was loaded, Sube clapped his hands. "Friend Crescent, the time we spend together is always short. I won't leave you for dinner, and I look forward to meeting you next time." Before Clazen could react, he felt himself rising into the air, and after a while of vision, he landed on the boat steadily. The heavy water turtle began to drag the boat and set off towards the distant fleet. Crescent hurriedly shouted, "Your Excellency Sube, what kind of goods will I bring you next time?" Sube replied, "Aboriginal farming is a priority. No combatants are required, unless they are gold." 5 Crescent made an okay gesture. "No problem. Leave it to me." 640 Sube nodded and turned back into the mist. He also has to refresh fixed entries for elves and Tauren. On the sea, Crescent put away his smile, looked at the troll thug next to him, and asked, "How is his strength?" 5 The troll thug flashed fear in his eyes, and replied truthfully, "I can't live for half a second." Crescent nodded, looked at the sea, and then sighed, "I can't see through this human at all, and I don't know whether today's events are good or bad." The troll thug thought about it and said, "It should be a good thing, boss. You haven't done a loss-making business yet." Speaking of this, Crescent immediately became complacent, and said with conviction, "Yes, this is the truth. I'm not as thorough as you. It seems that it's still far behind." In the business exchange between the two, the boat returned to the fleet. Afterwards, the fleet slowly retreated and disappeared into the distance. On the high point of the island, Sube stood on the fort, looking at the disappearing fleet, expressionless. In fact, for the sake of safety, it should be directly bombarded. But Sube had a hunch that keeping Crescent useful. Most importantly, he needed to figure out why the Dark Race had to go to great lengths to obtain the Blue Star humans, and they had to be alive. Could it be that in the past 100 years, the Dark Race has not studied and understood it? Should not be on. Suddenly, Shen Kingling's original words appeared in Sube's mind. The island world is going through unprecedented changes. We need to be prepared. Advertisement Chapter 168, Formula Comprehension and the Hand of God. What is the change in the island world? Subei can't control it for the time being. All he can do is to improve his strength. Maintaining the status quo. Now that he has accidentally acquired 2 master-level elves, Helena and Eve, they must be allowed to play their due role. With this in mind, Subei said to Dingsina and the others on the fort, "Continue to be alert. If that fleet returns, it will be sunk." 99 Yes, 39 Immediately, Subei stepped down from the heights and came to the ground. 2 elves and 3 Tauren are eating. Perhaps it was Subei's good looks that gave them a sense of security. It is also possible that the aborigines such as Yvette existed, and the 5 captives all behaved very quietly. Helena was the strongest, looked at Subei, and asked curiously, "What are your plans for buying us?" Eve pouted, "It must be playing around." More. Helena nodded, her voice agreeing, "It should be." 35 Subei almost fell to the ground. Do these 2 elves still have any sense of being slaves? Sitting up straight, Subei asked, "You don't seem to worry about yourselves at all." Helena asked rhetorically, "Is worry useful?" Forehead. Subei is numb. Who is the home ground? Eve covered her mouth and chuckled, and said, "Humans, we see that your nature is not bad. If you let us go, we will leave after killing the goblin, and we will not trouble you." Subei waved his hand. "That's not possible. One of you is a potions master and the other is a magic pattern master. I can't bear it." Hearing this, Helena and Eve couldn't maintain their composure any longer, and stood up. Helena glared at Subei. "How do you know?" 99 Eve approached Helena and took over the conversation. "Even if the Black Elves catch us, they don't know our identities." Yvette and the others were holding tridents and guarding Subei's side. Although they are facing the mountain elves, they are the ancient allies of the mermaid family. But if Helena and Eve wanted to hurt Subei, Yvette and the others would not hesitate to do so. Helena looked Yvette up and down, then looked at Subei, and said somewhat surprised, "How did you change their thinking? This level of loyalty is unusual." Eve said by the side, "It's not magic pattern. Even if it is to control the magic pattern, it can't do this level." Helena also nodded and continued, "It's not potions either. It's just that on your island, I didn't notice the aura of the dark race. It's definitely not their soul skill. You actually obtained the inheritance of the Demon's Lair warrior. It's really rare. This kind of inheritance will choose human beings. Unfortunately, the inheritance is not complete. Without the guidance of seniors, the combat power is much worse." Seeing that these 2 were about to rip off their old bottoms, Subei quickly refreshed their entries. Fix it first. However, Subei was also secretly shocked. These aboriginal people really cannot be underestimated. Just by observation, many clues can be seen. Subei made a decision in an instant. At this stage, Yvette and the others cannot be allowed to meet the Mermaid Queen. Helena looked at Subei without answering, and said, "It seems that you are planning to use the same method against us. But, you give up. Our elves are sheltered by the World Tree, and it is impossible for you to succeed." Subei smiled, "Really?" 99 Subei's confidence comes from the spirit of the island. She was born with the combination of the flower of luck, and she is particularly sensitive to the level of will of the World Tree. After her induction, it can be confirmed 100%. The will of the World Tree no longer exists. As for shelter, that's even more nonsense. And Helena didn't know this, and when she saw Subei's smile, she panicked. Could it be that the shelter of the World Tree can't resist it? What a power this is. Unimaginable, really unimaginable. In Subei's field of vision, there were 3 light balls floating beside Helena. 2 blue and 1 purple. It's a pity that there are no legendary or even mythical entries, but epic is not bad. Recipe comprehension, epic level. There is a certain chance to comprehend new recipes when configuring potions. This entry is very interesting. Fixed. Thing fixed. Target loyalty has been fixed at 100. 39 Helena's body trembled slightly. Subei stepped forward, took the key and undid her collar, and threw it on the table. Eve immediately said, "Human, Your arrogance will kill you. Helena has a firm mind. It is impossible to. Eve couldn't go on, and in her shocked eyes, Helena saluted Sube and said at the same time, "My lord, please forgive my previous rudeness." Sube waved his hand casually. "Don't worry, you should be on your guard." 99 Eve was stunned and asked subconsciously, "How did you do it?" It's not easy for Sube to answer this question directly. Even if he speaks of the system, these aboriginal people cannot understand the concept of the system. Most of the time, it is considered to be the existence of the will of the gods. No need to explain much. Concentrating his mind, Sube smiled and said, "If you want to know, I will teach you. Refresh. It is also 2 blue-violet 3 light spheres. Hand of God, epic. Improve the stability of hands, increase the success rate of magic pattern drawing. The name is very domineering, and it has a god character, but unfortunately the grade is only epic. This is not a title party. Sube secretly complained, then looked at Eve. 66 fixed. Ding. The entry has been fixed. The target loyalty is constant at 135. Afterwards, Sube untied Eve's collar and threw it aside. Eve repeated what Helena had done before, with a sincere attitude. Recalling the words just now, Eve wanted to dig a hole and bury herself. So embarrassing. Pad. The sound of a rice spoon falling off sounded beside him. The 3 Tauren opened their mouths wide, forgetting about their hunger. The sight in front of them made them suspect Nyushing. In just 100 years, has the blue star human beings evolved to such an extent that they are more fierce than the aborigines. The will of the island world is too eccentric. Sube's eyes swept away. Refreshed and fixed the entries for the 3 Tauren, Moore, Vito and Baird respectively. Julie, Shockwave, Brave Battle Song. The 3 excellent level entries have greatly improved their combat, Wang's, power. After undoing their collars and shackles, the 3 Tauren immediately offered their most noble courtesy. Sube let the spirit of the island spread the word and called everyone else over. The 5 newly added partners need to be introduced to others. When the others arrived, Augur and other aborigines wiped their eyes and exclaimed in disbelief. It turned out to be an elves. Fortunately, they met the island owner, otherwise they don't know what will happen. Apparently, even for their natives, elves are very rare. It's not going to get any better anyway. As a result, now, there are 2 at a time. When Sube talked about what happened before, everyone was stunned. Because the living area of Tauren is generally on the super island. As for the 3 Tauren, it also caused everyone to roar in surprise. Then feel blessed for Helena et al. Only there is enough vast land for the Tauren to gallop. Advertisement. Chapter 169. Deep utilization of powerful fruits. Now all the members on the island have fixed entries and are naturally close to each other. Although Helena and even the 3 Tauren were newcomers, they were still in harmony with everyone, and there was no estrangement. The flower fairies who came with Alvina before, as well as the 3 dwarves Benjamin, Zachary and Lori, Sube also fixed their entries some time ago. However, they are more general, and they are basically rare. If you want to wait for promotion again, you have to wait for Sube to advance to the silver level and add a second entry. While everyone was chatting, the 3 Tauren continued to bury their heads in cooking. They were really hungry. Helena and Eve were not very hungry and chatted with others. Even if they were captured, the treatment was not bad. There is nothing wrong with eating and drinking. When everyone got to know each other, Sube asked, "You were rested, could it be that there is something wrong with the mountain elves?" 35 Alpine elves, as the strong family among the aborigines, if they are all defeated by the dark race, then the problem will be serious. The stronger the strength of the dark race, the greater the threat to the human island owner. It is impossible for Sube to stay out of it. Helena shook her head. "There is no problem with my family. Eve and I were ambushed by the Black Elves when we were out, and then we were caught." 35 Eve explained, "We are going to collect raw materials for 640 research. The territory of the Alpine Elves does not allow foreigners to approach. If there is no caravan, you can only find a way to collect them yourself." 39 Sube nodded, "So it was. If the Alpine Elves do not have contact with foreigners, Many materials are indeed difficult to collect. Scudder Mountain's output is limited. After pondering for a moment, Sube said, "Now you are loyal to me. If you need anything, just tell me, and I will find a way to acquire it." Helena and Eve immediately saluted and thanked them. Helena hesitated and said, "Islander, although Eve and I have gold-level strength, we are not combatants, if possible." Before the words were finished, Sube had already taken over the conversation. "Don't worry, I will not position you as warriors, and your task is to continue with the previous research. 35 Using your knowledge of potions and magic patterns to increase the strength of the island." Helena and Eve stood up and saluted again. "Thank you, Island Master, for your understanding." 35 Sube waved his hand. He also found an interesting place. Helena and Eve's loyalty to him is full, but closer to the original state. Maybe it has something to do with Helena and their strength, or it may be because they have experienced a lot. After all, the real age of these two people, they have seen strong winds and waves. But that's fine too. It is impossible to let these two gold-level powerhouses, master-level figures, stick to him like a little girl every day. Not quite right. After thinking about it, the three Tauren Muir finally put down their rice spoons after killing thousands of caddies of food. Sube asked Tog to take them to the forge to prepare tailor-made equipment. When there is no follow-up battle, I will help at the forge. As for the physique of the Tauren, he is a hard worker. Afterwards, Sube told Helena and Eve about the existing plants on the island, and wanted to see if these two masters could create some surprises. There really is. Helena asked, "Islander, my clan has very few dealings with humans. At this stage, how do you use fruits such as dark blood fruit?" 35 Sube's heart was moved, and he said truthfully, "At this stage, the main thing is to eat it directly, awakening supernatural powers." Helena asked, "Did you try to concoct potions?" Lin Xiaoyun next to him interjected, "Yes, but the effect is very poor." Helena nodded and said, "This is normal. Whether it is potion or magic pattern, the key point is magic. As far as I know, except for those island owners who have obtained inheritance, other people cannot obtain magic. Naturally there is no way to concoct a magic potion. In fact, this view is already a consensus in Blue Star. Everyone knew what was going on, but they just couldn't fix it." Sube reacted quickly. "They can't do it, but that doesn't mean the Aborigines can't do it." Helena is a master of potions. Sube hurriedly asked, "Helena, dark blood fruit and green thunder fruit, can you mix the magic, BHCF, medicine? I will use these two power fruits to add a group of power users." With a confident look on her face, Helena said proudly, "How difficult is this?" Sube looked happy, which is really good news. Helena asked expectantly, "Island Master, when the blood spirit fruit matures, can you give me two to study?" Before Sube could answer, Eve also spoke up, "I want two." With a big wave of his hand, Sube is full of arrogance, "Take it as you like, you can just study it, don't worry about consumption." Helena smiled brightly. "The island owner's atmosphere, a young, handsome young man like you, makes my sister even tempted." Sube laughed, "Just let the horses come over. The loyalty of the system is there. These are all things that come naturally, sooner or later. But the top priority is to make use of the supernatural fruit first." Blue Star's use of power fruits is very crude. Previously, it could only be used to awaken abilities. The most is to let the power user eat too, but the increase is not large. Sube is no exception. Even if the Lin family sisters are there, they can't solve this problem. Because the root of the problem is magic. But with Helena in, the troubles in this area will be a thing of the past. Helena was not polite, quickly listed a bunch of ingredients, and then said, "Islander, this is the formula I tested with dark blood fruit and green thunder fruit as the main ingredients." Strength 5. Helena thought for a while and said, "It can be understood as a crystal of magic energy, but the user is limited, and the effect is not as direct as a crystal of magic energy, but it is better in safety and has no side effects." The restriction is not small, but it makes Sube overjoyed. The thousands of power fruits in his hand were originally intended to add 30 power users, and then sell the excess to the special affairs team. But when he accidentally got Helena, the plan must be changed. 30 power users were still added, but the remaining power fruits were handed over to Helena, and all of them were configured into potions. Thinking of this, Sube asked, in addition to the dark blood fruit and the green thunder fruit, can these supernatural fruits be handled? 35 The 5 supernatural fruits mentioned by Sube correspond to Du-Ling, Sun-Menaiu and others, and their strength also needs to be improved. You can't favor one over another. As for the required supernatural fruit, I would find Shen Qingling to buy it in the early stage, and then replant it on the island. With the magic field in it, the output will soon be able to keep up. Helena thought for a moment and said, I haven't done much research before, but the principle is the same, just need to debug a few more times, and always find a suitable formula. Sube put his mind at ease. This is indeed the truth. In addition, Helena has the entry, recipe comprehension, and the new recipe is not difficult for her. After asking about Helena's abilities, Sube looked at Eve. What surprises can this master of magic patterns bring him? Advertisement. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Magic Pattern. Sube didn't know much about magic patterns. Not only him, the entire Blue Star did not study much. Even among the aborigines of the island world, not many people can learn about magic patterns. Not to mention being a master. The entry difficulty of this thing is even higher than potions. Concentrating his mind, Sube asked, Eve, what are the magic patterns you know? The effects of potions are all kinds of strange, and so are the magic patterns. It's even more complicated. The magic pattern is composed of a large number of individual graphics, depending on the arrangement, will produce completely different results. Most importantly, a very stable pair of hands is required. In the process of drawing the magic pattern, any slight shaking will greatly reduce the effect of the magic pattern, or even scrap it directly. This is the hardest. While thinking about it, Eve said, there are quite a few types of magic patterns I have mastered. I drew it for myself, including magic power enhancement, automatic defense, speed improvement, and some auxiliary things, such as clear thinking. Hearing this, Sube looked at Eve, but there was no magic pattern on his skin. Eve rolled up her sleeves and activated her magic power a little. The arm immediately radiated light, and complex patterns emerged. Eve explained, the magic pattern can be hidden, and it will only be activated when the magic power is running. Of course there's something that's been showing up all the time. While speaking, Eve lightly lifted the skirt, and there were delicate and complicated magic patterns on the outside of her calf. Thinking about it, it was the magic pattern she said to increase the speed. Du-Ling, Juan-Menaiu and the Lin family sisters, as well as Yvette and the others, all lit up. This magic pattern is drawn on the body. Not only does it not look abrupt, but it also adds a few different aesthetics. Eve looked at Sube and said with a smile, Islander, I have other magic marks on my body. I have the opportunity to introduce them to you. Sube bowed his hands, next time definitely. Yvette next to him thought for a moment and asked, Your Excellency Eve, is there a magic pattern suitable for us? Du-Ling also asked, can we power users draw it? However, their starting point is somewhat different. Yvette saw the combat bonus, and if there is a magic pattern, he can gain extra combat power without changing the level. Before, she actually wanted to find someone to draw magic patterns, but there were too few people who could learn magic patterns. Anyway, there is no mermaid family. Now that I finally met Eve, I was eager to try it. And Du-Ling and the others want to think on another level. In addition to enhancing the strength, these magic patterns are quite good looking, and the island owner will like it if they want to come. Facing everyone's questions, Eve confidently said, of course, it is difficult to learn magic patterns, but there are not so many restrictions on using magic patterns. 5 As long as you are not ordinary people, You can draw magic patterns. Just one thing to note. 99 magic patterns cannot overlap and overlap, so the magic patterns that everyone can draw are limited. This is also the biggest limitation of magic pattern. The magic pattern needs to be drawn on the skin, and it is only a small area when it is full, so it needs to be selected carefully. Yvette and the others thought about how to strengthen their own strength. Tsubei thought for a while and asked, "Is there anything suitable for me?" Eve replied, "This is the first time I have met a demon slayer, so I need to measure my body data first." 35 Eve's eyes lit up. "Islander, I'm sorry, please take off your coat, I'll see how to proceed." 5 Although this sounded okay, but Eve's expression made Tsubei always feel that something was wrong. Does this master of magic patterns still study anatomy? Yvette blushed and said, "Islander, I'll go to the artificial lake." 35 Although she also wanted to stay and have a look, she was different from Dueling and the others. After finishing speaking, Yvette and the three dragged Eleanor, who was curious, away. The remaining few people, Dueling, Juan Menayu and the Lin family sisters stood still. Tsubei found that Helena was also looking forward to it, and couldn't help but wonder, "Helena, can you also learn magic patterns?" 35 Helena shook her head and explained, "Islander, I feel that your physical attributes are very strong. I am going to collect some data and let you help me test the medicine. Only a strong body like you can withstand stronger medicinal power." Tsubei was silent. He felt like he had dug a hole for himself. He urged, "Quick, quick!" Tsubei didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and ripped off his jacket. Eve rushed over immediately, rubbing it in the east and pinching in the west, and sighed in her mouth, "How on earth did this body get exercised?" 35 I've read the records of the Demon Slayer warriors, but I haven't heard of them having such physical strength as that of a giant dragon. Years Helena couldn't hold back her curiosity and stepped forward to observe carefully. While watching, he nodded in agreement and said, "Indeed, I was aware of it before, but I didn't expect the real situation to be more exaggerated than I predicted." "Ask for flowers." Helena reached out and gestured on Tsubei's arm, and said with some envy, "The proportions of the body are perfect, even better than RL's." Tsubei felt like a guinea pig on the lab bench. However, it is about the improvement of strength, so I can only endure it. After observing for a moment, Helena sat back in the distance and gave the space to Eve. Eve looked at Tsubei's pants. Tsubei hurriedly said, "It's not suitable here." 99 All right. Eve was slightly regretful. After thinking for a while, he said, "Island Master, with all due respect, at this stage, my ability is not enough to draw magic patterns for you. A body as perfect as yours cannot be disposed of at will, and I will try again after my skills have improved." Tsubei thought for a while and said, "Draw a few small ones first, and then draw other magic patterns later. I don't have higher requirements." "No," Eve immediately refused and said sternly, "My professional pursuit makes it impossible for me to do such a reckless behavior." Ling immediately volunteered, took 2 steps forward and said, "Your Excellency Eve, why don't you use us to practice first?" Immediately, Ling whispered a few words in Eve's ear, her cheeks turning red. Eve nodded and smiled, "I can fulfill this requirement, but are you sure? This will also consume the drawing area of the magic pattern." Ling said shyly, "I'm sure." Tsubei looked curious. What are they talking about? But they didn't get into it. Anyway, Ling and the others wouldn't hurt them. Everyone got up and responded, "As you wish." Let Tsubei first experience the power of the magic pattern. As a master of magic pattern, Eve is measured. Collecting his thoughts, Tsubei put on his coat and said, "Helena, there is an alchemy room on the island. You can go and see how to improve it, and then start to prepare the potions of dark blood fruit and green thunder fruit, and then use it." Very tough. Then he looked at Eve. "Eve, what type of research room do you need? Let the Earth Spirit help you build it, and then give me the list of materials and tools." In the evening, Ling asked Tsubei to study the magic pattern. Tsubei also instructed Ling and Juan Menayu, the people that Ling looked for before, Screen out those who are sure to be fine. I will go back tomorrow to check and bring some people back to wake up. 99 As for what type of magic patterns they wanted, Sube wouldn't interfere much. Advertisement Chapter 171 Dark Blood Potions. Helena and Eve are considered to have settled down on the island. Moore and the three Tauren also got along well with Augur and they became indispensable members of the Forge. Augur was full of praise for them. The hammer was swung too hard. The alchemy room has been transformed by Helena's guidance, and its size has more than tripled. With a little showing of both hands, the Lin family sisters and Avina, the flower fairies, were all in awe. They never thought that the preparation of medicines could still do this. And Eve also asked Tulane to help her build a laboratory, and gave Sube a list. Just the length of the list made Sube almost dazzled. Sube seriously doubted that there might be less than half of the real magic pattern drawing. However, he was the one who paid and sent the list directly to Shen Qingling. Shen Qingling watched for a long time, and then replied to Sube, "Are you going to study magic pattern?" Sube thought about it for a while, and decided to give Shen Qing's June 4-3 spiritual insight, and immediately replied, "No, I found a master of magic pattern." Shen Qingling, 6699 Shen Qingling, I want to scold people, but I know it's wrong, but I still want to ask, why are there such big gaps between people from the same blue star? Sube said in his heart that apart from the blue star human beings, I was once a human being on Earth. After gathering his thoughts, Sube then sent a message, "I need some supernatural fruit, dark fruit, warm cloud fruit, thick soil fruit, explosive flame fruit and ice apple." Seeing the names of these supernatural fruits, Shen Qingling sensed something was wrong. Shen Qingling, in addition to the magic pattern study, you actually found a potion master? Well, I won't ask more. You have all the power fruits you want. How are you going to pay for it? Sube, potion. These power fruits can be made into corresponding potions to strengthen the power of the power user. You should know this. Shen Qingling, I know, but we haven't been able to find a potions master before, and we couldn't get it stably. Shen Qingling, I agree to this deal on behalf of the Special Affairs team, and I hope it can be carried out stably for a long time. We will provide the fruit of supernatural power and other materials, and you will provide the potion. We only need 30% of the output. 99 Sube, no problem, but the output will not be too high. It's not that Sube wants to raise prices on the ground, but that the output is really not high. In the early stage, Helena can only prepare it herself. Of course, Avena and the others will also prepare some medicines, but it is very difficult to reach the level of Helena. Helena needs to modify the formula and simplify the process, so that the flower fairy can take over and produce potions stably. The effect will be weaker than that of her own deployment. But the advantage is that the production can be improved. As for shipping it back to Blue Star for production, that's impossible. The effect of the drug is directly cleared. Fortunately, the potion has a powerful effect, is warm and long-lasting, and can last for several days after drinking a bottle, and a lower output is acceptable. Shen Qingling knew the properties of the potion. Although it was a pity, he did not express any objection. In any case, this is one of the few ways to obtain potions stably. Shen Qingling, your luck really makes me not know what to say. 35 Sube, it's all little things. By the way, I know one more thing. Shen Qingling, but it doesn't matter. Sube, I contacted an aboriginal caravan, who are going to connect with the island owner of the lighthouse country to transport ordinary people to the island world. Sube didn't mention the goblins, nor the dark race, just to prevent Kristen from being killed. It doesn't matter if Clazen lives or dies, but he can't die now. Shen Qingling, really? Sube, really? 99 Shen Qingling, okay, I will report this matter. You have to pay more attention. If the lighthouse country really wants to do something, you must be their primary target of exclusion. Sube, I know it. 99 Shen Qingling, it's an eventful season now, you must be careful. The Special Affairs team will find a way to help you mobilize senior bodyguards in the future. Sube, don't want anyone below the gold level. My side is developing very fast, and the silver level can't keep up with the rhythm. Shen Qingling, that may take a little longer. It is not difficult to convince those senior island owners. Su Bei, it doesn't matter if I don't, I can solve it myself. 35 With Helena and Eve here, although they are not professional combatants, it is not difficult to subdue gold-level creatures. At that time, when Su Bei makes another move, he will be able to subdue him. While speaking, Shen Qingling sent 5 kinds of supernatural fruits, 200 of each. With such a large amount of money, only the special affairs team can do it. At the same time, there were also 2 silver-level enchanted island coordinate jade ultimatums. Shen Qingling, it is estimated that you will be able to use it soon, but it is still the same sentence, pay attention to safety. Su Bei, then I'm welcome. Turning off the chat bar, Su Bei called the earth spirit and went to the alchemy room with the supernatural fruit. In the alchemy room, Helena is tinkering with her cauldron. Just looking at the churning black concoction, Su Bei doubted whether Helena was studying dark alchemy. This thing sells so badly. He believed it was poison. Although Helena is preparing the potion, her perception is very keen, and she said without raising her head, "Islander, you are here just in time. This pot of dark blood potion is about to be completed. This is a potion prepared with dark blood fruit as the main ingredient." Su Bei came to the spirit immediately. He is going back to Blue Star today to recruit new candidates for power users, and this dark blood potion is just in use. Su Bei did not rush forward to disturb Helena, but stood by and waited quietly. A quarter of an hour later, Helena poured a small packet of powder into the cauldron. Then something magical happened. The potion, which was still dark before autumn, has become clear and transparent, and the whole is dark blue, as deep as the sea. Su Bei was startled. This thing can be made by dark blood fruit? Helena clapped her hands, called the flower fairy over, and began to pack. This work is relatively simple. Helena does not need to do it herself. She walks to the reclining chair next to her and rests. Su Bei said, "It's hard work." Helena took a sip of the drink she prepared and said with a small smile, "Island owner is polite. Here, the ingredients are taken by me. It's too late to be happy." While speaking, Avina flew to Su Bei with a bottle of potion. Island master. Su Bei took the potion. Dark blood potion, middle grade silver, special potion for dark type power users. After use, the power of the power is increased, and the effect lasts for 5 days. Good guy. Su Bei called the good guy directly. As expected of a master of potions, he prepared silver level potions. The black iron level explosive potion will cut the other island owners screaming, and if the silver level potion is taken out, it will definitely cause a sensation at 2.5. After handing over the dark blood potion to Avina, Su Bei said, "Helena, let the potions of dark blood fruit and green thunder fruit be made first, and use the supernatural fruit I brought first. This thing is invincible, level upgrade secret medicine, gold middle grade. After use, it can be improved by 1 level, only below the gold level can take effect. Be aware that this item can cause extremely intense pain, but Su Bei doesn't do that either." Su Bei thought about it, and it was true, and immediately asked, "What do I need to do?" Su Bei took a look and was stunned on the spot. Not enough for oneself. Helena immediately sat up straight, took out a bottle of dark green potion from the drawer, and said, "Just drink this." Helena stretched her waist, showing her graceful curves without a doubt, and then said quietly, "Islander, I've worked so hard, shouldn't you show something?" 35 Advertisement Chapter 172 A little accident. Su Bei never thought that there is such a powerful potion that can directly increase the level. Although it is limited to the gold level and below, it is already very powerful. But the side effects are also very obvious. Even the system indicates that this thing is extremely painful, which is probably unbearable for ordinary people. Helena said, "I drank a drop of this thing and it hurt and fainted." 66. 99 Su Bei suddenly felt that he had a hot potato. Even the gold intermediate Helena fainted, still drinking only 1 drop. If this bronze senior came to drink, wouldn't he have to die on the spot? But Helena won't hurt him. It is estimated that she has calculated the consequences. At most, It hurts to faint. Not fatal. Helena continued, I am not a combatant. I have not received professional training, and my current level will naturally increase over time. But, Island Master, you are different. You have obtained the inheritance of the Demon Slayer, and your physical attributes are very strong, so you should be able to resist the pain. Su-bei was keenly aware of the keywords should. Obviously, this potion's master is not very sure. However, Su-bei's desire to level up is very strong, especially when approaching the silver level. The opportunity to add a second entry is imminent. This bottle of upgrade secret medicine can greatly shorten the promotion time by 17. Su-bei decided to give it a try. If it's a big deal, you'll pass out in pain. What are you afraid of? But he still has a problem. Su-bei waved his arm and said, Helena, it's not a problem for you to test the medicine for you, but I don't think it's too far from the upgrade. Using this bottle of secret medicine now will not be a waste. If the effect of this secret medicine is the same as the description, and it is a direct upgrade, then it is obviously more appropriate to drink it when he is at the top level of bronze. Helena said, I understand the concerns of the island owner, but I can tell you very clearly, don't worry. Helena said confidently, as a master of potions, if you can't solve this problem, what kind of master can you be? This bottle of upgrade secret medicine is not a simple level upgrade. In fact, strictly speaking, it should be regarded as a high-energy concentrate. A large amount of spiritual energy is concentrated in the medicine liquid, and it will be released after use, breaking the level limit. And the extra parts will not be wasted, but will be accumulated and integrated into the body. After some explanation, Su-bei completely understood. The real name of this bottle of secret medicine should actually be called an experience pack, not an upgrade coupon. Boom. With a finger, Su-bei bounced the cork of the secret medicine and poured it directly. Smacking his lips, Su-bei wondered, it's still a little sweet. Helena blushed slightly and whispered, that's the smell of my lipstick. 9. She had drank it before, but she sipped at the mouth of the bottle, and then fainted from pain. Su-bei didn't have time to continue speaking, as if hundreds of kilograms of gunpowder exploded in his body. Surging energy flowed through his limbs instantly. In an instant, Su-bei's entire body turned red. Pain. It's a sharp pain. This is Su-bei's first feeling. Helena's statement that she fainted in pain is not a lie. Su-bei really wanted to faint and pull over, and he was over 100. But his consciousness was very clear, and he was dizzy when he thought about it. Helena moved closer and started recording data. Su-bei squeezed out an ugly smile and said word by word, Helena, you have to record it well, there are not many opportunities like this. Helena looked solemn. Island owner, rest assured, I will not let your efforts go to waste. 35. While speaking, Su-bei felt that the energy in his body had increased again, and his level had been raised to the top level of bronze, but the effect of upgrading the secret medicine showed no signs of stopping. The level of the host increases, and the number of daily entries is increased by 1. The system's prompt made Su-bei feel slightly relieved. Pain is not terrible. Terrible is no reward. Although this upgrade secret medicine was excruciatingly painful, it also allowed him to upgrade quickly, and he was only one step away from the silver level. Not a loss. Unfortunately, according to Su-bei's perception, even if he absorbed all the remaining energy, he was still a little short of advancing to the silver level. It is estimated that some more magic energy crystals must be absorbed. Su-bei is going to open a coordinate jade after returning from Blue Star, and explore a magical island to play. It is estimated that it is almost the same. If the bronze level is not enough, just open the silver level, and be sure to rush to the silver level. In order to divert his attention, Su-bei's brain raced and began to plan the follow-up plan. Not to mention, it really worked. The pain is not so exaggerated. But then Helena's words made Su-bei's heart sink. Helena studied for a long time, her expression a little embarrassed, and said, Island owner, there is a little accident. This upgrade secret medicine and your power have a conflict, which may cause a small explosion. 99. Su-bei had run out of time to speak, and he also discovered the problem. After the energy of the upgrade secret medicine exploded, It seemed that the entry of the killing god was triggered, and the two forces actually began to confront each other. This time, Sube has been pitted. As for the small explosion, Helena said, although it will not be fatal, it should still be possible to let Sube lie down for a month. Avina was about to cry in a hurry, and asked eagerly, Your Excellency Helena, what should I do now? The Lin family sisters also came over when they heard the movement, and then they were at a loss. This is how to do. Helena is worthy of being a master of potions, and soon came up with a countermeasure. She said to the few people next to her, the current situation is actually easy to handle. The island owner is only like this when different energies conflict. As long as the energy is vented, there will be no problem. Lin Xiaoyan said immediately, let me come. Lin Xiu also had obliging expression. Helena shook her head. No, the current island owner can't control his strength, and your body strength is too low to resist. The Lin family sisters were dumbfounded. What should I do? Lin Xiaoyan's eyes lit up and he said quickly, Sister Menayu, her physical quality is much stronger than ours. Helena still shook her head. It still doesn't work. Maybe you don't know the true power of the island owner. Let's just say 643. The dragons of the same level are not as strong as him. The Lin family sisters immediately exclaimed. But Sube was dumbfounded. Sisters, let's solve the energy conflict problem first. Helena's expression was indifferent, and she was obviously confident, and said, since this matter was caused by me, it should be solved by me. 39 Lin Xiu said worriedly, but Sister Helena, you don't look strong. Helena smiled slightly, took a piece of iron from the table, and made various shapes, and said at the same time, although I am not a professional fighter, I also have gold-level strength. 5 Lin Xiaoyan immediately praised, Sister Helena is really amazing. Lin Xiu also had admiration on her face. She couldn't do it to such an extent. How powerful is it to squeeze the iron block with bare hands? Thinking of this, Lin Xiu looked at Sube with a little worry in his eyes. Can the island owner stand it? Sube doesn't feel right. But he was speechless at this moment, and he could only watch Helena swipe away the others, then snapped his fingers and locked them in the magic shield. Outside the magic shield, the Lin family sisters had some lingering fears when they heard the muffled thumping sound from inside. Helena is really right, the island owner's strength is too strong, they can't bear it. In the afternoon, Sube left the alchemy room, and his desire for promotion grew stronger. Low level is too lethal. He didn't even suppress Helena. Advertisement Chapter 173, Blue Star's Food Crisis. Sube left the alchemy room and returned to the villa. Du Ling and Zhuan Menayu came from outside the house and asked with concern, Islander, why don't you go back to Blue Star tomorrow? Sube blushed, coughed twice and said, it's okay, the business is important. Du Ling nodded in agreement, yes, I believe in the strength of the island owner. Sube feigned anger and said, you've gone against the grain, let's see how I deal with you. Zhuan Menayu replied with a smile, let's wait and see. After joking, the three immediately teleported back to Blue Star. Brother Zhengwen and Zhengwu soon came to report the situation. At present, the scale of Blue Star Company has expanded several times compared to the original, all departments are operating in an orderly manner, and the total number of employees has exceeded the 500 mark. With the completion of the commissioning of the new production line, it will only take a few days to break through the 1,000. With the care of the city lord of Zai, many things went smoothly. After reporting the basic situation of the company, Zhengwen said, Island owner, according to the calculations of the consultants, they suggested to expand the scale of the food department in the future. Zheng Wu added, it is reported that the grain reserves of all parties are starting to run out. This news brought Sube's spirit, and immediately asked, is there any relevant information? Zhengwen immediately handed over the folder he carried with him and handed it over to Zhuan Menayu. Zhuan Menayu spread out in front of Sube. Sube took a few glances, his expression a little dignified. Blue Star's food shortage problem started to break out again. After pondering for a moment, Sube asked, I remember that before the food was not enough, at least it was enough. Why is there such a big gap all of a sudden? Zheng Wen replied, it is said that because the previous storm destroyed too much farmland on the island, this year's large-scale production reduction is a foregone conclusion, and all parties are hurrying to purchase grain. If so, then the credibility of the news is high. At that time, the storm had spread too far. Many new island owners who were trained by the special team died a lot, and senior island owners also suffered heavy losses. Such a violent storm, even if it survives, the island is not much better. Ordinary plants can't stand that kind of devastation. After thinking for a moment, Su Bei said to Zhuan Menyu, after returning, there will be an area on the magic field, which is specially used for planting high-yield crops. Su Bei looked at Zheng Wen and said, the food factory's goods are all intercepted, and the shortfall is made up by the pharmaceutical department. As ordered. Zheng Wen immediately agreed. Afterwards, Zheng Wen summoned the courage to ask, island owner, are we waiting for the opportunity to sell at a high price? 35 Su Bei shook his head, got up and looked at the city outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. If a food problem really breaks out, we will also maintain low prices. Duling, Zhuan Menyu, and the Zheng brothers immediately shouted, Atlantism is righteous. Su Bei sat back in the boss chair and said casually, I'll do my best, but it won't affect the overall situation. It's okay for you to know about this matter, and you don't need to say it. 5 Yes. Su Bei went on to say, Menyu, bring people here, and bring some back today. Su Bei is now at the top of bronze, with 11 regular entries per day. Today, because I was delayed in the alchemy room for a long time, I haven't used it for a fixed number of times. I can bring more people back depending on the situation. Zheng Wen and Zheng Wu got up and retire, and it is inconvenient for them to participate in the next thing. After a while, Zhuan Menyu led a dozen people into the office through the secret door and lined up in front of Su Bei. Su Bei waved and motioned for Duling to bring her ears closer. Duling leaned over to listen. Su Bei whispered, why are they all women? Duling also whispered back, isn't that bad? Forehead. Su Bei was speechless. Duling went on to say, island owner, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. With your current strength, you should take care of more people. Su Bei gave Duling a sideways glance. Is this how the sentence is explained? But things are already like this, so we can't push people back, we can only recognize them. Su Bei raised his head and glanced at everyone. All are young. According to the information handed over by Zhuan Menyu, they were all newcomers in the past 2 years, and returned to Blue Star for various reasons. I was very excited to be summoned by Duling this time. The eyes that looked at Su Bei were full of eagerness. The young man in front of him is the one who can change their destiny. If they didn't know the rules, some people would be ready to pounce directly. Su Bei quickly completed the entry refresh. After thinking for a while, I decided to bring 8 people back, and left 3 entries to fix the opportunity for emergencies. Quickly selecting the 8 people with the highest level of entry, Su Bei gave Zhuan Menyu a wink. Zhuan Menyu immediately left with the others. Fixed entries, added island residents, in one go. Afterwards, Su Bei took the group directly back to the island and headed to the alchemy room. When she came to the alchemy room, Avina blushed slightly when she saw Su Bei, obviously thinking of something. As if Su Bei didn't see it, he stood out as a steady mountain. Helena walked out from the inside, radiant. However, Su Bei was surprised to find that Helena had been upgraded, and now she is a gold senior. Helena covered her mouth and chuckled, isn't this a very reasonable thing? The excess energy has to go somewhere. Su Bei thought about it, and it seemed to be the truth. Su Bei pinched his chin and muttered to himself, how do I feel like I've been tricked? Helena smiled without saying a word. This question is destined to have no answer. Su Bei calmed down and said, Helena, these are candidates for abilities who are going to use the dark blood fruit to awaken, and the dark blood potion will be used in the future. Please record the relevant data. Helena's eyes lit up. She took Su Bei's arm, and said happily, thank you, Island Master, you still understand me. My clansmen always say that they can't use other people as experiments, so I can't study to the fullest. Recipe. 35 Subei's scalp was numb, and he quickly said, Helena, you need experimental materials. I can help you catch the dark race. But you must not use the island members for experiments, you know. 35 Helena agreed, and then said with a wicked smile, Islander, you don't need to be so troublesome, you can test the medicine. Subei grinned twice and said, it seems that the lesson I gave you just now wasn't enough. Helena looked at Subei quietly, without speaking, to save face. Just now who suppressed who, I know. Subei decisively changed the subject, took out the dark blood fruit from the warehouse, and awakened the candidates for the ability. Awakening progress varies. 8 candidates consumed a total of 70 dark blood fruits. Subei didn't care about this consumption at all. Next, it's time to use the dark blood potion. The 8 dark type ability users drank the potion, Wang Mahao, in one go, and after a while, they were all surprised. They can clearly feel that their powers are increasing. The spirit of the island disappeared and conveyed the news to Eleanor. At this time, the spirit of the island floated over and said, Master, Your Excellency. Eleanor reported that there were some sea snakes passing by 3 nautical miles away. Bronze and black iron were mixed, whether to kill the account. 55 Helena shook off Subei's arm and went around a few people to observe and record the data. She was very excited. Subei came to the beach with the new power user and waited quietly. Helena also followed, and she needed to record the data so that she could adjust the potion formula later. After a while, the sea in the distance began to boil. More than a dozen sea snakes with the thickness of a bucket appeared in everyone's field of vision. Subei looked at the 8 power users who had just completed their awakening, thought for a moment, and said, let the turtle team surround and kill the bronze level 1s, bring back the corpses, and drive the black iron level 1s to the beach. It is precisely with these sea snakes that after testing the use of potions, how much the strength of these power users has improved. Advertisement. Chapter 174 The first battle of the newly promoted abilities. The sea snakes that were driven here range in rank from low-grade black iron to high-grade black iron. For the new abilities, let alone the advanced black iron, it is very laborious to kill the sea snakes of the lower black iron. Even though the power user under Subei is using the D-level fruit awakening, but the level is there, it is still very difficult to fight. Subei put his hand around his waist and found that the Longian sword was not there. Then I remembered to send it to the forge to upgrade. When he fought against the Blood Baron before, he broke down, and if he did not level up, he would not be able to keep up with the rhythm of the battle. Helena said from the side, Islander, I'm here, this little earthworm can still turn the world upside down. Subei smiled. Indeed, what was he worried about? The current island is not what it looked like at the beginning. If you encounter a black iron monster, you have to fight with all your strength. It can be said that even if a gold level monster comes, it can be easily killed. While thinking about it, the sea snake landed. The 8 new superpowers dispersed in 2 groups and began to attack. Zhuan Menaiu introduced from the side, Island owner, they have received emergency training these 2 days. 35 Subei nodded, no wonder he looked good, and he looked very familiar. It turned out to be the training method of the special task force. The power user's fighting method is actually very simple, which is to compress the power into an energy ball and throw it out. At least in the beginning. With the gradual deepening of the mastery of abilities, more fighting methods can be derived. 647 This battle is to test the bonus of Dark Blood Potion to abilities, not to make these new abilities go all out. Therefore, in the process of rushing forward, the sea snake was blocked by the heavy water turtle. Whenever a sea snake moves forward, it will be hit back by the impact of heavy water. Although the sea snake couldn't come, the 8 power users did not take it lightly, but went all out. They quickly found cover and began to cross-attack. Shadow energy balls are constantly flying in the air. At the beginning, the hit rate was terrible, but after a few rounds, the power users mastered the trick, and the hit rate was greatly improved. And under the control of the spirit of the island, the concentration of aura around them is higher, which can effectively supplement the battle consumption. and the continuous combat ability has also been improved. This kind of treatment is much better than dueling and Zhuan Menaiu at the beginning. However, dueling and Zhuan Menaiu didn't care. They were very pleased. This means that the development of the island has already embarked on a formal course, and the initial hardships and efforts are worthwhile. Hiss. The sea snake neighed angrily. The fight was so unfair. But they have no choice but to wait for death to come. When they were discovered by the turtle team, their fate was already doomed. Tsubei doesn't care what the sea snake thinks. Bhcf. According to his observation, although these new power users do not have very good entries, their combat effectiveness cannot be ignored. Their powers are high. Although it was a little weak when attacking the high-level Black Iron Sea Snake, the low-level Black Iron was completely unstoppable. 2 energy balls passed and died on the spot. Even the Black Iron Intermediate Sea Snake didn't move after 4 or 5 energy balls. Tsubei looked at Helena. Good job. The effect of the Dark Blood Potion exceeded my expectations. Helena looked proud. Of course, this is a silver-level potion that I personally prepared. 99 Afterwards, Helena called back the 2 power users and began to check the recorded data. Helena said while writing, the increase in power strength is lower than expected by 10%, presumably due to the quality of the dark blood fruit. This batch of dark blood fruit trees is newly transplanted and not stable enough. The next batch of finished products should be able to solve this problem. The damage effect of the dark attribute is not obvious enough. You can increase the dose of the evil shadow gem powder. The operation of the power is a little sluggish. It is necessary to reduce the increase of power strength and increase the basic attributes of the user instead. 9A Series of potions terminology, said Tsubei's head is about to explode. But looking at the expressions of the Lin family sisters, it was obvious that they benefited a lot. Not everyone has the blessing of being able to get close contact with the master of potions. While Helena was revising and adjusting the potion formula, the battle on the beach was drawing to a close. Only the last 2 high-grade Black Iron Sea Snakes were still dying. Their retreat is blocked by the heavy water turtle, and as long as they want to turn around, the heavy water impact will give a head-on blow. If you want to escape from the left and right sides, you must also face the heavy water turtle. There was even a silver-level water cannon turtle in the distance. The sea snake was about to cry. Not to give back to people, no, to give the snake away to live. After the 8 power users communicated quickly behind the cover, they attacked at the same time. Unlock all abilities in a short period of time. The energy ball drowned the 2 sea snakes. When the energy turbulence subsided, he was already lying on the beach without moving. 1. Although the hands and feet of the 8 superpowers were sore, they still couldn't stop the excitement and joy in their hearts. Before today, they were just ordinary people. But now, it is already a power user with powerful power. And all this was brought to them by the island owner. Thank you to the island owner for giving us a new life. The new superpowers supported each other and expressed their gratitude to Tsubei. Their eyes were very hot. Tsubei waved his hand, indicating that he was all his own. This test was very successful. Helena returned to the alchemy room directly with the data, and began to fine-tune the formula of the dark blood potion, while constructing the potion of the dark fruit. The new potion will be prepared using the dark fruit, and the results will be seen tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Du Ling couldn't help but look forward to it. The performance of these newcomers gave her a sense of urgency. As the earliest power user on the island, she couldn't lose to these younger sisters. Tsubei called the dwarf Benjamin and asked him to deal with the sea snake. The snake skin is left behind, and the flesh and bones are sent back to Blue Star, where they are processed into canned food by the food factory for storage. Benjamin reported the situation while working. Islander, the 3rd energy cannon will be completed tomorrow. This time we cast the Yang Yen cannon, which complements the Nether energy cannon. 35 Tsubei nodded, which was reasonable. In other words, with the completion of the Yang Yen cannon, new gunners will also be recruited. As soon as this idea came up, Zhuan Menaiu said from the side, Island owner, when I return to Blue Star tomorrow, I will also gather the gunners. You can bring a few back. Bei is very pleased that Zhuan Menyu now has a more precise grasp of the secretary's responsibilities. After doing this, Su Bei suddenly felt that 11 times a day to fix the entries was not enough. And wait until the promotion to the silver level, refresh the fixed second entry. The number of times is even more scarce. If it weren't for the daily reset, Su Bei would be too big. There are several magic marks on the body, and the breath has also been greatly improved. This is my latest achievement. The aura gathers magic patterns, which can effectively speed up the level improvement. This is good stuff. Aware of Su Bei's surprise, Eve said triumphantly, "Islander, thanks to the new ability you have given me, my success rate in drawing magic patterns is much higher now, and the magic patterns that I couldn't try before have gained a lot of confidence." When I bought it back yesterday, it was only top bronze. Hearing this, Su Bei immediately came to the spirit. While thinking, Eve walked quickly under the leadership of the spirit of the island, followed by the Tauren Moor. It's just that Moor at this time is completely different from before. As soon as Su Bei sensed it, he was surprised to find that this Tauren was already a subordinate of Bei. Advertisement Chapter 175 Do not break the defense. Su Bei doesn't know much about magic patterns, after all, this thing is really too advanced. Can only turn his eyes to Eve, waiting for her explanation. Eve clapped his hands, and the Tauren Moor raised his arms in coordination. Eve didn't know where to take out a small wooden stick and began to list them one by one. 4 identical magic lines were drawn on Moor's arms, wrists, legs and ankles. Then, Moor slowly turned around, revealing the 5th magic pattern on his back. Su Bei understood a little and said, "This is not a magic pattern, but a set." The magic patterns on the limbs are responsible for gathering spiritual energy, and then the 5th magic pattern on the back is fused into the body, thereby accelerating the level. Eve gave a thumbs up, as expected of the island owner. "I understood it at a glance." Su Bei smiled modestly. In fact, the principle of this magic pattern is very simple. The difficulty is probably in the drawing. The magic lines on the limbs need to be exactly the same. This is not so easy to do. But with the blessing of Hand of God, Eve can do it. In the final analysis, the improvement of the level is actually the process of absorbing spiritual energy. As for what form of power it transforms into after absorbing it, it depends on the profession. For example, Helena, Eve and Yvette, the aura will be transformed into magic. Taking Su Bei as an example, Reiki will transform into something similar to Qi. As for dueling, these superpowers, they transformed spiritual energy into supernatural powers. But in the final analysis, the way to upgrade is the same. It is to absorb spiritual energy. It's just that under normal circumstances, the speed of absorbing spiritual energy is relatively fixed. Even if the concentration of aura on Su Bei's island is very high, it can only play a supporting role. However, with the aura converting the magic pattern, the root can be changed, and the gain effect is very obvious. After Su Bei figured out the principle, he immediately realized the strategic value of this magic pattern. The power of the island is now divided into 2 parts. Abilities and aboriginals. Let's talk about aliens first. Although Su Bei is constantly increasing the number of power users, now he has the help of the potion prepared by Helena. But it is very difficult for these new power users, including dueling and others, to catch up with Su Bei's rhythm. Grades are the biggest issue. There is no good way for Su Bei to absorb as many magic energy crystals as possible. Not only him, this problem is faced by all island owners. This is why it is necessary to sign a contract with the other party before cultivating abilities. Because the training process is too long. If the other party ran away directly, the loss would not be borne by the island owner. Well now, as soon as Eve makes a move, Su Bei will have no worries. He can confidently and boldly increase the number of power users. Under the blessing of supernatural potion and aura gathering magic pattern, their supernatural power and level will increase simultaneously, realizing a leap in combat power. And this magic pattern is also very obvious for the improvement of the aborigines on the island. More is the best proof. Su Bei was all smiles. The surprise that Goblin Crescent brought him was too great. "Next time we meet, give him more profit." Su Bei secretly said. Immediately looking at Eve, he said with anticipation, Give me one too. Eve naturally wouldn't object, and asked Tsubei to stretch out her wrist. Tsubei complied. Then I saw that the magic pen that drew the magic pattern broke directly. Tsubei was stunned. It's over. The magic pattern does not take effect as soon as it is painted with paint. It needs to be engraved into the flesh and blood. And now, Eve can't even break the skin, so how can I draw a magic pattern? Eve was also very frustrated. But the reason for her frustration is obviously something else. Eve's eyes were blank and she muttered to herself, I can't draw a magic pattern on such a perfect body in front of me. Why do you do this to me? Tsubei decisively put away the emotion. It's a pity that he still wants to comfort him, but now it seems that he doesn't need it at all. However, this problem has to be solved. Tsubei tries to control his muscles and keep his defenses as low as possible. But every time the tip of the pen touches the skin, it will be broken in an instant. After breaking 10 magic pens in a row, Eve gave up. But she quickly ignited a new fighting spirit and said, Islander, I think we need to catch. No, please come back with a few dwarf masters. Tsubei was keenly aware that Eve seemed to have slipped the tongue just now. But Tsubei didn't wisely fail to point it out. Eve looked as usual, and continued, according to my calculations, your skin is not indestructible, but the quality of these magic pens is too low. Tsubei thought about it for a while, and it was indeed the truth. And he also understood Eve's intention and said, so you want to find a dwarf to customize a magic pen, and then draw the magic pattern. 35 That's right, Eve nodded quickly and said viciously, I don't believe it anymore. Creating a platinum level or even diamond level magic pen can't break the defense. 35 Tsubei always felt that Eve's current obsession was a little deep. She doesn't care about the magic pattern drawing anymore, she just wants to cut Tsubei's skin. Then think of Helena's desire to use other people to experiment with potions. Tsubei suddenly felt that the two elves were caught. Maybe they did it on purpose. Ask for flowers. Because only by being caught can one leave the territory of the mountain elves. However, with loyalty as a guarantee, Tsubei is not worried that they will hurt herself, but it is just a character problem that needs to be corrected slowly. Thinking of this, Tsubei said calmly, Eve, next, you will first draw aura-gathering magic patterns for the members of the island, but the follow-up magic pattern drawing must be approved by me first, and you cannot act without authorization, you know. 5 Eve thought for a while, and said pitifully, can you let go of the restrictions a little bit? 35 Tsubei's heart softened and he wanted to change his mouth, but after seeing the slyness in Eve's eyes, he said decisively, no change is allowed. All right. Eve shrugged, whistled and left. Only the Tauren Muir was left with his arms raised. Moore asked sullenly, Islander, can I put down my arm? 55. Tsubei nodded, and then said, Moore, since you're here, don't leave for now, just in time for me to open a coordinate jade ultimatum. Let's explore. Moore immediately said, Islander, wrap it on me, I'll go back and get the equipment first. After speaking, he ran back to the forge, and then ran back quickly, wearing iron armor all over his body, with a large dark iron rod on his shoulders, thicker than Tsubei's waist. Being hit by this thing, it is an extravagant hope to keep the whole corpse. Afterwards, Tsubei called Yvette and Eleanor. Their task is to defend the teleportation channel. This time Tsubei is going to open the bronze level coordinate jade ultimatum, and there is no need for Helena and Eve to take action. It's up to him and Moore to fight. Hearing that the Tauren were all land tanks, Tsubei was looking forward to Moore's performance. And Moore is also confident, ready to use action to show loyalty. When ready, Tsubei crushed the coordinate jade. Exclamation mark! A long wolf howl sounded across the teleportation channel, and then, a huge gray wolf rushed over. Islander, be careful. In the crisp sound of bone cracks, the bronze high-level gray wolf was blown up in the air, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. Afterwards, Moore exerted force on his legs and rumbled into the teleportation channel. Moore muttered, Island owner, the animals at the entrance have been cleaned up. After a while, he returned. The iron armor on his body was full of meat strips and blood. Click. Tsubei nodded, took Yvette and the others through the teleportation passage, and saw a messy battlefield. More roared, and the big iron rod in his hand swept out. And farther away, in the lush forest, more gray wolves stared at this side, with bloodthirsty eyes. More than a dozen gray wolves were smashed into rotten flesh, and their death was very miserable. Advertisement. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.